All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Thursday night live stream on Drums and Drams. It's a little earlier tonight. 9:02, I think, is when the stream started. And then I started doing something here that I forgot to do, and now we're at 9:04. So, anyways, what's up, everybody? Hit that like button on your way in. We've got, we have a lot of whiskey on the table tonight. I'm not going to drink all this whiskey tonight, thank God. My liver could not handle that. But we have a lot of whiskey to kind of talk about, and quite a bit still to taste, I guess. We've got a flight we're going to do tonight of Brook Hill ryes, and I've got these awesome sample bottles here. We'll talk about this in a second. I've got to say thank you to a certain someone for sending these my way. We'll get there. But we're going to take a look at all these Brook Hill ryes, which are sourced MGP. We've got 6 of them, and I believe this constitutes the entire release thus far of that portfolio. As far as ryes go, they have bourbons too. So we'll do that tonight. We're going to start with kind of talking about rye whiskey throughout the year. I think it's kind of like kind of a discussion topic, I guess, but I want to just talk about some ryes because 2024 for me is the year of the rye whiskey. It feels like it's June 20th. We're about halfway through the year, and the star of the show for me, yes, there have been great bourbons. Yes, for sure. But by and large, I feel like ryes are taking over this year. And so it's pretty cool to see. So we're going to talk about some releases that have happened on the rye side of things. At the beginning, we're going to take a look at some recent releases, which unfortunately none of them are ryes, go figure. But I ended up with these bottles in the last 2 days. I didn't realize everything would be here or that I would end up with some of these for this stream. So we're going to take a look at some new releases. You can see the Green River Foolproof, the Angel's Envy Bottled to Bond Cask Strength, kind of interesting. And then the Baby Jane, which is a Widow Jane release here that frankly, I'm not that familiar with, but I found at a store. There will be a giveaway tonight. The giveaway this evening is going to be the second of our 2 Evernorth Spirits rye picks. We're calling this one, Sarah's Barrel, kind of the his versus hers barrel selection. So I've got 2 of these to give away. I went back up to Evernorth Tuesday and Wednesday this week. I got back last night, filmed some more content. This was bottled when I got there. And I was able to snag a case of the second barrel. So every $5 super chat tonight gets you an entry into the giveaway, and then we'll do the randomizer at the end of the stream. Of course, if you want to donate via Venmo or PayPal, you can do that. The information is in the description of the video, my Venmo and PayPal. That way YouTube doesn't take their 30% cut. Or you can super chat on the screen. That is amazing as well. So we got 2 of these bottles being given away, plus 4 samples, exactly like last week. Okay, so last week we gave away, of the 4 samples, 1 of them is the other barrel of rye that we picked from Evernorth. So you're going to be able to do the comparison at home. And then the other 3 samples, you can see behind me, an Old Grandad 1990 8-year bottled and bond, National Distillers, Chateau de la Baude Batch 1, and then finally I'll send a sample of my favorite Michter's 10 2023 A barrel. So same exact stuff as last week. If the same person wins this week as last week, and they want to change those samples out, we can work together on that. I'll send you some other really cool stuff. So there you go. That is, I think, the spiel for the entire stream. So we got some more folks coming in. Please do hit that like button on your way in. I'll reiterate the giveaway and stuff, in 45 minutes or so when more people are here to see if they want to get in on it. And maybe I can retaste this rye as well. We'll recap the Evernorth trip. We got a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of whiskey to taste. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to say cheers with my brand new Evernorth tasting glass. I wonder where I got this. I wonder if I paid for this. I don't know. Cheers, guys. Equal Rare 10 in the glass. Okay. Let's see what we got going on in here. Let's see who's hanging out this evening. Travis, what's up, man? Travis, I think, sent a super chat before the stream, which was cool. What's up, Boyd? Good to see you, man. Pink Dan, I don't know. Pink Dan and I, we were talking earlier. We were talking about microwaving whiskey. I thought Sarah was going to be home to help me with the whiskey microwaving. There's a whole discussion we were having, guys. Maybe I'll do it on next week's stream if she can jump in here. We were talking about shipping whiskey in the heat and if that would affect whiskey, as it's being delivered or whatever. And my assumption is, like, as long as the cork is not popped by the heat, that you're fine. If the cork's popped, then you got bigger issues there. But the idea of microwaving whiskey to see what happens came up, and so I was going to do it tonight, but I don't think I'm going to do that because I don't have the help of my assistant this evening to help me with that, because I don't want to be walking back and forth to the kitchen. All right, good to see you, Josh Fritz. Good to see you again the other day up at Evernorth. Justin, thank you again, man. Revisiting some Frey Ranch bourbon. Yeah, guys, by the way, I just got back from a quick little tasting, an in-store tasting here in Columbus with Colby, the master distiller of Frey Ranch. And we were chatting up there. I was talking to Mike, his marketing guy, as well. And it sounds like there is a possibility of a Frey Ranch pick for Drums and Drams. Probably not like super soon, but it sounds like they like to do virtual tastings first and kind of build a relationship and then do an in-person pick on the ranch, which would be amazing to fly out and do that. So I'm gonna stay on that. And as far as other barrel picks go, Justin Potts here has been a big help the last couple of days, getting in touch with some folks. So I've got to respond to Backbone tonight or tomorrow. I've gotten back to Hard Truth. I got to hit up Green River, and then who am I missing? Driftless Glen. So we're starting to work on these next 3 to 5 distilleries for picks and see how we can line things up as we get to the end of the year, because we're pretty much set through the end of August now with drops. So we have 4 more months of drops to kind of figure out to get through this year. What's up, Mike Conklin? Good to see you. Joe the Sample Guy. Sean, not a rye fan. Oh, I think anybody can be a rye fan. Okay, so the star of the show is in the house for this flight. Orlando, a.k.a. my bourbon palate, is the person who provided these 6 Brook Hill samples, which I'm super stoked about. Let me know in the chat if you guys have tried any of these Brook Hill products, by the way. All right, going to keep scrolling. Good to see everybody. Don't want to get too bogged down. I want to get into it here. Glad to see Cam back in his home, not gallivanting around. Travis, I basically am jobless. Sometimes it feels like work on the weekends and run around during the weekdays. It's a little bit opposite of people who actually have real jobs. So I do feel a little bit, silly running around, but it's fun. Okay, Jeb says, I can see throwing it in a blender, not a microwave. This stuff is hardier than wine in heat. Keith, thank you for the super chat, man. I'm going to pull this down here. I'm going to start tracking entries and everything like that. Keith, let's see. Get you in for 4 entries. Says, great channel. Appreciate all your content. Thank you. No, thank you, Keith. Cheers to that, man. Christine says, I like Frey Ranch. Yeah, so I like their bourbons, I think, more than their ryes. Here's the thing. The barrel pick that I tasted last week, or single barrel, I don't know if it was a pick, I guess. I tasted on the stream last week from Frey Ranch. Had a really weird, like, broccoli vegetal note to it. But I haven't had that experience in all of their ryes. Like, I tried the 100 proofer at the tasting today, and it was like buttery, which I thought was interesting. Like very, very buttery, very sweet rye, like a frosting note to it. I can't remember if that pick had that note at cask strength, but their bourbons I seem to like a lot. So I'm going to actually crack this Frey Ranch this evening, and we'll get into this. This is not a pick. This is just the, what do they call it? The farm strength uncut bourbon. So it's like 121 proof. So we'll check this out tonight. I was tasting this there, and I really liked it. It's different, It's a little different. Anthony James, I'll never understand the whiskey discrimination. My drams are rated E for everything. That's funny. Yeah, Josh, it was fun up there, man. Bottling Spirit Walker, and then just hanging out was great. Travis, break all of Whiskey Tube and do a Dickel pick. Jesse, interested to hear Cam's take on this Frey Ranch. What's up, Jesse? Okay, so I think we're going to get into it now. So, we're going to start by talking about some ryes. Just real quick, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm curious to hear all of your input, but I keep saying this, and I want to back... Good Lord. I want to back myself up here. So I started grabbing bottles And I'm going to have a little sip because I don't know if I've reviewed this yet on the channel, Green River Rye. I don't know if I've tasted it on a live stream. So this rye is 95 proof, 47.5% ABV, and it's non-age stated. But it is an available shelfer rye from Green River, a distillery that I'm quickly not learning to love. I'm falling in love with them. I think Green River stuff is phenomenal. But for me, 2024, we've seen so many great rye whiskeys. So this A. Overholt, I just reviewed on that 3 shocking whiskey video that I did, whatever. And this one, $40. Interesting, like slightly malty chocolate notes, but with some pineapple and tropical fruits. A totally different take, right? And very affordable and very findable. So we've got stuff all the way down at the $40 price point. This Green River, $35 price point. This is a super sweet rye. Honey, like lots of honey notes. A little bit of like a sweet tarts kind of thing, Smarties kind of sweetness. Very nice, very gentle, approachable. But a little bit of bite on the palate. Kind of like a lemon starburst kind of note on this one. That citrusy rye thing. But it's not herbal, it's not dill, it's nothing weird that folks aren't going to like coming from bourbon. So we've got stuff like this, the A. Overholt. We see stuff coming out of small operations. Still awesome. Bottled and Bond Rye released, I think, in February, right? All of these ryes, quality-wise, they beat their price points, in my opinion, by quite a bit. And even rye is even more expensive than bourbon. So we see stuff like this on the regular. Then you get to something like this Bullet 12-year. And I know, like, the proof is low. What is it exactly? 92. People kind of bitch and moan about the proof on this Bullet 12. This is a $50 or a $55 bottle from Bullet. It's 12-year MGP rye. And it's everywhere. It's all over the place. Who cares that the proof is low? This is a crushable, age-stated rye whiskey from a brand that gets, people take steaming dumps on Bullet, myself included. But we get stuff like this that's dropping. In the special releases category, this Michter's Barrel Strength Rye this year is out of this friggin' world. It's like got this crazy honey granular sweetness to it. It's humongous on the palate. And so for me, I am finding more joy in rye whiskey in the year 2024, especially on barrel picks. Like this thing, I know I'm biased. This is one of my favorite MGP ryes I've ever had. We got so lucky with this barrel. It wasn't us. It was our luck in the fact that River Roots had this rye, 11.5-year MGP, which is the same stuff, I believe, that we're going to be tasting in this Brook Hill lineup tonight. Case in point, we picked 2 ryes at Evernorth. I can't get away from this stuff this year. And I know, like, I was talking to Ryan Alves, and he was like, yeah, you're picking a lot of ryes this year. He said that in a text a couple days ago. And it's like, yeah, we are, but I think flavor-wise, these things are kind of spanking all the bourbons that I'm trying this year. I mean, there are great bourbons. Michter's 10 bourbon this year wasn't as good as last year, but it was still really, really solid. There is good stuff dropping. But by and large, I think this is a rye whiskey year for me. And also, like, yeah, take into account here, like what Jesse's saying, the Bullet 12 rye, think about the value for money. Where else are you going to find a 12-year stated rye that's not Canadian or not like some kind of wacky craft operation that just has to sell it at a low price point because they can't get rid of it, So to me, like, I'm taking this opportunity this year when I do tastings with folks and I go to bottle shares, whether it's experienced whiskey drinkers or like new people that I'm introducing either American whiskey to or, whatever. I'm taking those opportunities to bring a lot of ryes to those things and not tell people what they're drinking and just let them see if they like it. Like, just pour it and say, here, tell me what you think of this. And 9 times out of 10, like even this rye, this Drums and Drams rye, which is 120 proof from River Roots, people that only drink 90 proof stuff, I've given this rye to and not told them what it is, and they're like, that is insane. It's like, I know. And in any other circumstance, you would never buy this bottle. So, That's I mean, what do you guys think? Like, am I crazy for saying this? Maybe I'm just too laser focused on this, but as I talk to Dan Shook and I talk to other folks, I hear a lot of people kind of talking about rye specifically this year. Justin, I'm sipping the 90 proof Frey Ranch bourbon and it's solid, nothing to dislike really. Yeah, is it 90? I liked it. I liked it today. It was but again, really buttery and that icing note. Jesse wouldn't be devastated by a Dickel pick. They make some solidly good whiskey and affordable for the age. Yeah, if only. I mean, if we could pick a Blue Note 17, then I would do one of those picks. I love that stuff. Casket Salesman, I hope we get Green River single barrel rye soon. That would be nice. I'm sure that's going to happen. Like this Green River standard rye for $35. Come on. I don't know how somebody could not like this whiskey. It's that approachable, and that's what you need from something at this price point with this level of availability. Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiast just bought the Baby Jane and enjoyed it for a low proofer. Okay, so we're going to get into that next. Green River Rye solid as they come. Doesn't come off 95.5. Absolutely. Not sure if the batches of the farm strength vary too much, but the one I have is reminiscent of a nuttier, grainy Heaven Hill. Huh, nutty. That's interesting. Let me... I'll taste some of that in a second. So I just went with Green River. I'm going to pour just a little bit of the Bullet Rye quickly. Just kind of a once-over on this. I've beat the other ones to death, right? Like the Overhold, I did a video. The Michter's, I've done a video. Still Austin, I've raved and raved and raved about this rye and the High Rye Bourbon. Pretty much all the bottled and bond releases they did last year were instant buys for me, even at $80. I mean, come on. The Bullet 12-year rye, you get a lot of like a damp earth kind of note, and that's what a lot of older MGP gives me. It's got the same kind of honey notes as the Green River rye, but a little bit more ginger, and then a little bit of like funky leather in the background, like that aged note. The palate is a little unbalanced. Not enough body for how much spice there is, even at the 92 proof. But at this price point, you can't really complain about it. Like, one last thing I'm going to say that Dan Shook mentioned when we were hanging out last 2 nights ago, I think maybe, that I'm trying to put this away in my brain and remember to say this, is, oh no, it was yesterday. We filmed a video for Green River Foolproof Rye that's going to be on their channel. He was like, listen, at $50 for this bottle, he's like, at $50, it's not going to be a perfect product, and it shouldn't be a perfect product at 50. Like if this is 50, and like let's say a barrel proof is 70, that barrel or a barrel pick rather is 70, then that barrel pick should be an upgrade on the batched cast strength or foolproof product. But this version, or like a rare breed at $50, or insert bottle, let's insert Bullet 12-year rye. At that price point, it shouldn't be perfect. It should have flaws, whether it's in the proofing or in using kind of young tasting barrels or sharp barrels. That's to be expected at that price point. And I think I'm trying to reorient the way I judge whiskey to that philosophy of acceptable issues, I suppose, given a price point. Justin met the master distiller at Green River a month ago, and he was great, friendly, gave me great info, and had a drink. That's cool. That's very personable sounding, which is awesome. Hey, by the way, real quick, speaking of super chats, if BT is in here, BT won the giveaway last week, and I don't think knows it, so I didn't get an email from BT. So BT, if you're in here or you see this, please email me, drumsanddrams@gmail.com, or say something in the chat tonight. Let's get in touch. I've got an Evernorth and some samples with your name on it. All right. Al, what's up, man? Got you in for 2. Says, dude, just got the raffle bottle delivered today. Thank you so much. Was blown away after the half hour it took to unwrap everything. Those samples are insane. Thank you so much. I'm glad you got it, man, in time for this week's live stream. So you can hopefully sip that bottle if you're drinking right now. Crack that thing open. Let me know what you think. Russ says, drinking that A. Everholt now, unique and great, on sale for under $40. It's a fantastic value. Justin, the best part of these potential picks we're working on is they're all fantastic value. I agree. Like, I think we need to enter a new phase with the barrel picks we do where we can knock a few out that are 60 to 80 bucks, not over 100. All right, we're going to scroll down here. So, Jeb, I've been curious about this rye. The Knob Creek 10 rye at 100 proof. Just lacking all around, maybe a few months open. Well, I mean, when you think of it, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Knob Creek rye and bourbon don't taste super different to me. Like, when I drink, what is it, the 7-year 100 proof rye or the 9-year 100 proof bourbon, they are very similar to me. It's not like Knob Creek's ryes get crazy herbal or minty. They actually have like almost more nuttiness to them. So I think it's interesting that they're going to come out with a 10-year rye. I know the rye age statements are lower than the bourbons, but Knob Creek bourbon to me doesn't start to really develop until 12 years old. So I wish we see a 12-year rye instead of a 10-year rye, because I feel like that 10-year rye is just going to be really similar to the 9-year bourbon. Does that make sense? I didn't realize Bullet 12 hadn't been released since 2019. I bought a few back then and would tell people to grab a bottle years later, not realizing it wasn't available. Yeah. So how separate are Bardstown and Green River? Does Bardstown just let Green River do its thing? I have no clue, actually. I have no clue. Dan and Sean seem to know a lot about that relationship when we were talking yesterday, and they were talking about Green River, and we did the review, but I wouldn't pretend to know that. Oh, and there you go, Jesse. I forgot Rack and Tour Rye. It's on the shelf behind me. Rack and Tour Rye to that list of great ryes this year. Totally. Devin, people bitch about Bullet 12-year rice proof, but go crazy over Michter's 10 rye. Well, to be fair, the Michter's 10 rye, not the more recent ones, unfortunately, but like 2021 and earlier, all had a really nice creamy profile that was a little bit more hefty than, I think, the Bullet. Probably the low entry proof, but I mean, the Bullet, still value-wise, it's less than a third of the price. So, yeah, you can't really complain about Bullet 12-year. But, yeah, as Orlando says, MGP rye right now, with all these barrels floating around on the market, these 11 years, some people have been hanging on to other barrels. A lot of 7 years on the market, too, it seems like, that folks are buying. This stuff it's like improving. You would not expect, given the hype and the whiskey bubble and everything we talk about, for the quality of these ryes to be as high as they are. Look, not all the barrels are great, and we'll find out with this Brook Hill flight. And having tasted now 16 different barrels of this stuff at River Roots alone, they're not all great, but the percentage of the ones that are great it's a pretty high percentage of single barrels you can get from those lots. I'm with you, Cam. Bourbon's been the popular spirit past 10 to 15. We're finally seeing rye have its time in the limelight. I know. I hope it continues. And I hope there can be some, like, more mainstream sources of that hype as well, beyond, like, YouTube, And this is a good point. Daniel Nichols. Wild Turkey just started releasing their private select ryes at 101 proof and this Kentucky Spirit bottle. Missed the OHL could drop because I was out of town, but excited to try those. I am too. Chris, talking about the heat. It is hot out. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. Yeah, the whole Green River lineup is amazing value. Every time I go to the store, I see somebody browsing the aisle, and I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, hey, what are you looking for? And if it's someone that looks like they don't know what they're looking for, and they're like, well, I'm trying to find something from my dad or something Father's Day. I'm like, what's your price point? And they're like, I don't know. He drinks Makers, like $35. I'm like, Green River. Every time I'm pointing people to Green River now. Yeah, Mike, I have it on the table here. Of course, I forgot to mention it. Sagamore Bottled and Bond Rye. And that's what the Junkies Rye is. I think it's a different mash bill, but, you can still get the flavors in there. Oh, wow, Joe, so you must have gotten one of the cask strength and not the foolproof picks, which is awesome. All right. We've got our friend from the live stream on Tuesday night, Miss Jenna Talia, as Dan Shook said, or genitalia. There we go. $5 super chat from this AI bot, in for one. If you win the giveaway, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to have to say that name again. Gavin, not much of a rye guy, but the Still Austin Cask Strength has been my favorite whiskey this week. I like Still Austin a lot. Okay. Jeb's going to revisit the KC10 rye. Well, life's hard, man. Jeb, I got your Fox and Odin right behind me. So Old Overholt 11 is a so the 10 was last year, so you wouldn't really include it on this year's list, but it was the end of last year. So we have an 11-year Old Overholt rye coming out. I know, it has to be even better, I would think. Oh, and Devin won a Four Roses LE, Michter's Barrel Strength Rye, and a Booker Spring. That's a good night. Okay. So, anyways, I just, it's not like I'm going to go through and do a flight of all the favorite ryes from this year. Maybe later. But I think the point for me is, like, don't overlook ryes in 2024. Even if you're like, I hate ryes, I'm a bourbon drinker. No, not a lot of these actually drink, like, crazy, Willett Family Estate, Dill Forward Rye, 4-year. It's not, they're not all like that. Green River is the place to start, and I think the Overholt is a place to start if you're just trying to kind of dip your toes in. And plus, those are great price points, $35 and $40. You're not out $250 to try those products. And last but not least, I think if you ever see one of these Sagamore bottled and bond ryes, this is an instant buy. Off the charts. Jeremy, what do you think about the Knob Creek Bourbon Rye Blend? That also seems a little pedantic to me, or a little pedestrian is maybe the word. Let's taste a couple of new bottles that are not ryes before we do this Brook Hill flight. We're going to start with the lower proof of the bunch, which is going to be this Baby Jane. Okay. Gonna crack it in a few minutes. All right. Report back, Jeremy. Let us know what you think. Because we've so far throwing whiskey all over the place. So far from Jeb, Knob Creek 10 is out. Not a great rye. So let's see if that one is any better with that Boo Rye blend. So next up, we're going to do Baby Jane 91 proof, which is 45.5% ABV. It says, in pursuit of perfection, we at Widow Jane grow our own unique corn varietal baptized Baby Jane. This special grain delivers a depth and creamy spiced finish that is a rare treat for the most discerning bourbon lover's palate. We start with the finest ingredients and distill them with care in New York and in Kentucky into an extraordinary bourbon. Okay, so New York and Kentucky bourbon bottled by Widow Jane. So it sounds like a contract distillation of a special corn variety that they have that they're calling Baby Jane. So let's see what this is all about. Price on this was like $50, I want to say. I picked this up on my way out of Michigan. Honestly, this is 91 proof. This smells hot. It smells over 100 proof to me. It's super spicy. And this is a bourbon, right? A blend of straight bourbon whiskeys is what it's called. This smells more like a rye, actually. It's a little on brand right now. Tim Tam Slam. Tim, that's a great point too, man. I hadn't even thought about Little Book 8 as being this rye concoction. But I wonder where it will land amongst all the rye offerings. People claim it's a baby Booker's rye, but a few reviews don't seem to place it that high. If the rest of the series, if previous releases are any indication, I would say it's probably not going to land. I mean, they just include so much young and weird stuff, I think, in a lot of these blends, but what does Little Book 8 have in it? Let's see. Current release. Oh, God. Gotta enter my birthday. Okay. Everything from 4-year rye all the way up to an 18-year rye. Oh, no, there is some bourbon with high rye in it. That's the 18-year component, but the rest of it's rye or rye malt. I mean, this is a crazy, crazy blend. They all kind of are these days, it feels like, though. Mr. Drushka did not grab the Hazmat malt from River Roots. I'm just not a big fan of that whiskey in general. It's nothing to do with River Roots. It's just the place they sourced it from. I just don't think I'm a big fan of that whiskey in particular. Okay, so this Baby Jane smells young, it's, like I said, it's super spicy, it's grain forward. It reminds me a little bit of don't know. It's like juicy fruit gum and a little bit like citrusy and kind of like just grain sweetness. It's almost like there's not a lot of flavor or a lot of aroma on this whiskey. I just gotta taste it, I guess. Okay. Huh. That is like the most nondescript whiskey I've ever had. It has zero... It smells hotter than it tastes. It does drink like a 91 proofer, but it smells like 102. It has almost no personality, this whiskey. I don't even know how to really describe how flavorless this is. But it's not offensive. It feels just like a mixer to me, I guess. I mean, there's nothing there. It's like just grain alcohol, like, but it's not offensive. And it kind of has a lot of spice, but that's it. There's like no flavor to this whiskey. What is happening? I feel like I've got COVID. Baby Jane review. Okay, hang on. Baby Jane review bourbon. I want to see what someone has written about this. A spicy cornbread profile with tremendous promise, says whiskey in my wedding ring. Oh, that was in a different bottle though. It was in a long wine-shaped bottle. Yeah, did they just rebrand this or is this a new product? Oh, it says batch 12. Okay, maybe this is just a rebrand with the bottle design. All right, I'm done with that. There's just nothing there. Spicy cornbread is, I mean, that is pretty much the best way to put it. But it's not even that strong. And it's just sweet. It's sweet with no notes. All right, we're just going to move on. That's wacky. To me, no offense to Widow Jane. You know, some of the older products are pretty cool, some of those old blends they do, but this to me is like a waste of money unless you're just looking for a mixer. There is no reason for any whiskey enthusiast to ever buy this bottle. It is, someone said in the comments, it's like Traveler. Yeah, Jay, this is the Widow Jane version of Traveler. God, that sucks, man. Okay. Let's go on now. Let's do this one. So this is the brand new Angel's Envy, and I know people have been talking about this over the last week or so. The new Angel's Envy bottled in bond. It's distillery only. It is cask strength bottled in bond, so that means they blended a lot of low proof barrels together with a couple of high proof barrels, and they came out at exactly 100 proof, which is pretty cool. That means there's no water added to this. So it's not diluted. It should be all natural, natural strength, which should be more flavorful. All right. And they say bottled in bond, and that would obviously be at least 4 years old. I don't think they give an age statement above that. So we're just going to assume 4 years. CH24, any word on the release date for Stag 24A? I haven't heard anything. Heard absolutely nothing. Jay, who signed it? The master distiller there. I think his name is Owen Martin. Is that right? Yeah, Owen Martin. I snagged this. I did not go pick this up. This is from somebody else. All right. So, guys, a quick reminder, 126 people in chat. We're going to do a Brook Hill flight of all of the Brook Hill ryes, the 6 that have been released so far. I believe that's the entire collection up until this point. We have a giveaway tonight, which is 2 winners, 2 bottles. they get the same thing. Each winner gets the same thing. A bottle of our second barrel pick of rye whiskey from Evernorth. This is 6-year Sagamore rye. This is Sarah's barrel, barrel 11. It's a little darker profile. Dan Shook and I did a blind of this that we shot yesterday, where we compared the two barrels blind, my barrel and Sarah's barrel, as we're calling them, and we flip-flopped. I thought I was choosing mine, and he thought he was choosing Sarah's, because that's the way we've always picked these, blind, and we flip-flopped. And I don't know if Sean tricked us and labeled the glasses wrong, because we were both positive, like, that's the fruity one, that's the dark one. And then we revealed it, and I chose the fruity one, but that ended up being Sarah's. So it made no sense to me. We did a blind at the distillery of 10 people between the two barrels that we picked, and it was a 5-5 tie, which is pretty good. So to me, that means both barrels are excellent, and it only comes down to preference. This is the darker of the two. This is like the cola rye that we're kind of calling it, except for in the blind that I just did with Dan when it didn't taste that way, which was super weird. I'll taste this a little bit later in the stream again, just to kind of remind myself. I've got one open here on the table right here. No, right here, and we'll get into it. But yeah, this is the giveaway prize, 2 winners, and then those 2 winners are also going to get a sample of the other barrel, plus Chateau de la Baude Batch 1, Micterston 2023A, and a 1990 Old Grandad Bottled and Bond 8 year, so you can try a Dusty. So there you go. Jay, putting in my ceremonial long shot whiskey. Cheers. Thanks, man. Let me get you in here. And let me make sure I haven't missed any in the live chat. I'll get to the Venmos here in a second. I think we're good. Joe, I love my Thursday night live stream marathon. Roy from Aquavite for my Scotch fixing, and then Cam for American Whiskey Nightcap. Nice. All right, so let's get into this Angel's Envy. It's had a little time in the glass. This is my first sip of this. Neck pour. Okay. This has a little element. I don't think this is sweet mash. It has a little element of a sweet mash fruitiness. If you've ever tried Peerless or Wilderness Trail, there's a distinct way the fruitiness comes out of those glasses. This has some of that. This smells like a fruit cup, fruit cocktail. So overall, it's just a very fruity whiskey. It's on the lighter side of things. It smells good, though. It just smells like good, fruity bourbon. On the nose, when I think about the price tag, having not drank it yet, which I think is like $55 for this $375, I don't love the price. I don't think that is... I mean, Angel's Envy is overpriced normally. The rye's $100. I'm sure they have to go through something to when they finish it in the rum casks, and the bourbon being finished in port wine. Even though they have it down to a science and a system, you have to imagine. I'm sure there's a little extra money that goes into, you know, however they're doing the port casks. But $50 for the standard and $100 for the rye, it's just overpriced whiskey. I don't think anybody can argue with that. This is in the same category. This has a little bubblegum note to it, so that's kind of where the youth comes in. Besides it having a lighter profile, and then you assume that it's probably younger whiskey, it's the bubblegum note that gets me. All right, let's go to the palate. All right. So they've packed a lot of flavor. Sorry, I'm just sitting here thinking. They've packed a lot of flavor into 100 proof, and the finish is long. I actually just got goosebumps, weirdly. I got, like, excited about the finish. Yeah. Okay, so they've packed a lot of flavor into 100 proof, and you have to imagine that's because they've added no water to this whiskey to get it down to that proof. It takes a little... Like, it takes a long time on the palate for this thing to develop. It doesn't hit you up front and show you its cards at the beginning. It is just this very, very slow burn of a whiskey, which stylistically is going to be very different for a lot of people that try it. My knee-jerk reaction to this was like, oh, shit, this is flat, whatever. And then I just sat here for 20 more seconds, and it's like, oh, this is really nice. Huh. Okay. Huh. Randy Livingston, what's up, man? I think you jumped in or back into the Patreon. I can't remember which. I saw your name pop up, though, so thanks for jumping in, man. Thanks for the super chat. $10 entry. Got you in for 2. Cheers, Cam. Stoked to finally join your... Oh, there you go. Sorry, I didn't read that first. Looking forward to some really good whiskey. Thank you, Randy. That's awesome. I think I was just thinking of Patreon because I know we've emailed from giveaway wins in the past. Greg Miller, happy drinking all. Thanks for the super chat, man. Got you in for 2. And Dan H. Cheers, spending my bourbon scratch-off money for the week. Nice. Thanks, man. Thanks for spending it here. Justin says, hang on. Brian, what's up, dude? Year of the Rye, you say? Come on, you know it's the Year of the Rye. Brian, how many of these Brook Hill Ryes have you tried? I know you get all the good stuff, dude. Justin Potts. Also, Brian, can you please tell somebody to ship those Nulu short barrel hazmats? I want them. Justin Potts, best part of these Thursday night live streams is that I don't drink alone. I feel you, man. Tom Harper, got a Wilderness Trail Rye bottled and bond for 42 on your recommendation. Hope you didn't let me down. That's the one that did really well in the blind flight, right? I think it was a bottled and bond and not a cast strength. And then Brian says, you're going to love the Peerless picks I did. All right. Well, I got to come down to Louisville, man. I'm thinking about it. I was unpacking all my travel stuff today from being up in Michigan, and I was like, maybe I should just leave this packed and just go to Louisville next week or something. Actually, probably the week after. Probably the first week of July. I have that week off of work. Wayne's doing the New Riff malted 8-year rye. That's a good one. Okay, and then Jimmy Shirley recently found your channel through the Junkies. How do the giveaways work? So, Jimmy, same thing that a lot of channels do is like you just gave a $5 super chat, and that's one entry, right? And so I'm keeping track of it in a spreadsheet, and then I'll show you the randomizer at the end, and everybody will see it. It'll be public, so you can see there's no shenanigans. We spin it 7 times, and the top 2 people get the bottle. So I track here from the live chat, and I track my Venmo and PayPal entries as well. Oh, what's up, man? Why does the Angel's Envy bottle look small? It's a 375. Or it's just my tiny little hands. So, Brian, you've tried 4 Brook Hill. Okay. I want to come to Nashville. Dude, next week is tough. It's my biggest concert week of the summer. It's like the patriotic show, and I've got I think I have 2 other gigs next week, 2 different gigs as well. So I'm working a lot next week, man. I would come down if I could. The only day I'm free is Thursday. And it would have to be down and back. And to Nashville, that would be psycho. I would love to, though. First week of July, I'm free. And the rest of the summer is a little easier. There's not a lot of through the week stuff. It's all Friday, Saturday. But dang it. That would be fun. Mike G, I've been enjoying your content as of late with the Junkies. Looking forward to future drops and Sarah's pick. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, man. Got you in for 2. Yeah, the Junkies thing was fun. The live stream. The live stream Tuesday night was fun. People thought I was drunk. I was a little tipsy, but I was on 2.5 hours of sleep that day. And we had done a full day of stuff. And at that point, I was ready for bed. So there's a Thursday here at NBC. Oh, dude, I could drive down. I have a rehearsal that ends at 4:00 on Wednesday. I mean, I could leave then. Although Brian, I have said some things about NBC on the channel. Not bad things about their products, just about their pricing. I think they're a little overpriced. I always feel like, what if someone from NBC hates me because I said that? I would hope that wouldn't be the case, but I always get nervous about that stuff, But I don't know anybody at NBC. But I would have to turn around and leave so early Friday morning because I have a Friday night rehearsal and it's a big one for me. Well, I don't know. Dad, what's up, man? Good luck. Cheers all. Looking forward to seeing what you think of the Still Austin. I've already tasted it before, man. I could taste it again here in a second, though, if you want. They have New Tennessee, like the stuff that Pursuit had. All right, I'm on board with the Angel's Envy. The first sip, like I said, it had that really slow development. But then it was it coated my palate And when I go back in for the second sip, and it's even better. This stuff is great. It's just heavy whiskey. Like, it's delicate up front, and it just continues to get heavier on the palate. It is very bright, like light fruity. Like I said, fruit cocktail, fruit cup. Those are the kind of fruit notes. And a little bit of like Swiss Miss packet in the background. So a little like hot chocolatey kind of powder. And it actually is showing some age, weirdly. I think it's probably only 4 years old. But as I continue to go back to the nose, it's getting more, it's going to sound weird, but like fruity oak. Sometimes oak notes can blend in with light fruit notes and make it feel, this is stupid, damp. I don't know the best way to describe this. It's a little bit like an MGP oak when I talked about kind of like wet earth, wet soil, not soil. Just like, you know, when you're in the woods and it's rained, petrichor. It's the same kind of oak. So if this is 4-year-old Angel's Envy, it's another one of these situations, like some other distillate I've talked about, like the Sagamore stuff, like even Watershed here in Ohio, where I'm like, look, when this stuff gets to 10, it's going to be a freak whiskey. All right, I like that. The fact is, you're only ever going to find it for $55 or more if you buy it, you know, on secondary or whatever. I don't love the price, but I would still buy this. I would buy a 375 of this. I'm not going to crush this bottle and need a bunch of them, but I would buy a 375 of this. It's good. That's a recommend for sure. Whoa, Travis. What are you talking about as 5-year Dickel? The stuff from NBC or the stuff from Pursuit episode 63? Yeah, Travis, what are you talking about? I'm so curious. Jesse, speaking of Tennessee distillate, what does one need to have to be able to get barrels? I have the same question from Tennessee Distilling Co. They make some fantastic stuff, and it's affordable because people assume it's Dickel. I don't know, but I told Dan, I was like, hey, I got a whiskey you need to try, and it's from a place that you need to be getting barrels from. The NBC, says Travis. Oh, wow. So the NBC is getting non-Lincoln County Dickel. Does it have any of the minerality that Dickel has? Like, is the Lincoln County process actually where that minerality comes from? Because people told me that Blue Note 17 didn't go through the Lincoln County process, and it's Dickel. It still had minerality. It just wasn't as bad on some of the higher proof barrels. Daniel Nichols. Excited to see how your picks hold up to Evernorth Rye 4 and 6, the best I've had. Daniel, I like being purely objective. I think these picks both of them are better, in my opinion, by a decent bit than Rye 4, but I haven't had Rye 6. But I when I did the Rye 4 comparison, I think it was last week, I liked these picks better. And I promise you I would be honest about that. Like, I'm not worried about these picks not selling because it's from Evernorth. It's going to sell regardless. But it is they're really good. And I like them more than Rye 4. Okay, so the Tennessee NBC Dickel has some. If traditional Dickel's a 10 on minerality, I would give this a 2 to 3. Okay, Travis, that is interesting. Brian, ISO Cam's Evernorth. Hey, man, just ask me and I'll get you some, bro. Come on. All right, we got one more whiskey. I'm going to leave this Angel's Envy out. We got one more whiskey to taste before we do this Brook Hill flight. And then I'm going to get to these Venmo Super Chats. Oh, my good God. Green River Foolproof. So, yeah, like I said, yesterday we filmed a video. The junkies had me on this video. And this was not as as kind of crazy and rambunctious. I sound like an old man with that word, rambunctious. I don't think I've ever said that word out loud, actually. But the video wasn't as crazy as the one we filmed for Elijah Craig and the one that you're going to see coming up where we did the 8-pour blind flight. It was a little more down the middle, and I felt like I kind of sucked in this Green River review. So then when I was driving home from the Junkies yesterday, I stopped off in Ann Arbor at a store. This was on the shelf, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy one. I'm going to do my own review of it. Not just right now. I'm going to make a video for it in the next couple of days. Because I felt like I just didn't, they were doing their thing, and I didn't want to, I think I gave like one long-winded thought in the review, and the rest I was just there for, just for the hang, I guess. And they had me in the middle of the shot, so it was two tall guys and a short guy in the middle. Come on. What's up, Mark Vasco? My Bourbon Palate. Oh, Orlando. Cam, Rare Character has some Tennessee rye out right now called TKO. Yeah, that's that experimental mash bill from, I don't know if I should say that on a live stream where it's from, but people probably know. I'm not going to be the one to say it, though. Rare Character has Tennessee rye out right now, 70, 25, 5. Those barrels, well, I can't say those. I've only tried one. It was Ryan Alves's pick, which I think was a super short barrel. So unbelievably good. Sarah was like, you got to get us one of those. It's like, someone put one on secondary for like $1,400 or something stupid. I texted Ryan. I'm like, I am close to buying that bottle. He was like, don't do that. Okay, I won't do that. All right, so Green River Foolproof, 117.3. So this, to me, at $50, you think of this going into the market at $50. Who is this competing with? What products on the shelf is this competing with? Your rare breeds. I guess what's a $50 barrel proofer on the shelf? Bullet barrel strength I just reviewed, which I felt like I was a little easy on the bullet barrel strength in my review. I think I got a little soft in that one. That was on me. What else is a $50 cask strength shelfer? You could say Larceny barrel proof, but that's not sitting on the shelf everywhere. I guess like a Knob Creek 9-year. Knob Creek 9-year 120 proofer, like the shelf version. What else? Stellum. Yeah, Stellum maybe. Because I was trying to think of what are some like 4 to 5-year-old MGP sourced cask strength blends that are around $50. Like Stellum would be one. 1792 foolproof. Yeah, I guess. That feels a little less available to me than what this Green River is probably going to be. Wilderness Trail barrel proof. Yeah. So all good options, it sounds like. 1920 is probably $10 to $15 more at this point than this. But, like, that's where this foolproof is in the market for me. On the nose, the Green River picks that I've had have been big, like blackberry dark fruit bombs and very jammy fruits with that fresh leather note I always talk about with Green River. This is a little bit brighter and spicier. It's probably a little bit younger and a lot of different barrels in the blend. Like I said earlier, at this price point at $50, you expect flaws in the whiskey if it's widely available. It's not going to be perfect, but is it worth the money? Does it compete against the others? This still has good sweetness. It's like a brighter fruit. This is like strawberry cream. Yeah. All right. On the palate. That's solid. That's solid. Very spicy up front. Actually, a little disproportionately so. Then in the mid palate, it flips. All the spice takes a back seat and the flavor comes in. And then it comes back to spice in the finish. So a pretty good development for this one. It is like a little bit thin on the palate. That's probably from either younger barrels or less desirable barrels in the blend. Oh man, the finish is like It's like peaches. Like fresh peaches on the finish. Very flavorful finish. I like that. And it's got a little bit of that leather in the background. Chattanooga. That's an interesting. I always overlook Chattanooga now. Did I miss a... Oh, Dan Pacifico. Thank you for the super chat, man. Get you in for 2. Gotcha. Maker's Cask. That's another good option. Smoke Wagon the Younger. Yeah, I forgot that they just rebranded that, I think, to Desert Colt. So yeah, it's called Foolproof. But see, I thought entry proof at Green River was 119. This is 117.3. So are they calling this Foolproof? I don't know. That's interesting. Does anybody know why this would be 117.3? But I thought that their single barrel picks I thought were foolproof, and they were 119. Blue Note Juke Joint is a good call, Brian. Okay, so maybe this is just basically cask strength then. Oh, foolproof has no legal definition. All right. This is so solid at the price point. You know, let me grab. Let's put this next to Rare Breed. Man down. Phone charger down. Mark, definitely considering Benchmark Foolproof. Look, maybe someone's going to shock me in a blind one day with Benchmark Foolproof. But unless that happens, I'm good. I'm good on that stuff. I don't know. All the Benchmark stuff has this artificial sweetness to it. From, I imagine, probably the youth. It all tastes like aspartame sweetness to me. Like, which is a flavor just in real life that I can't stand. I can't drink diet sodas or anything like that. It gives me a headache. So aspartame, sucralose, a lot of those fake sweeteners, I cannot do it. Justin, I think the barrel entry, I think, is 119. So I think this might just be dialed up to what cask strength is for this batch. Let's see. Is it a better value than the Bardstown Origin bottles? Probably. I mean, considering the proof, you get a lot more proof out of the Green River than you do the Bardstown Origins. But I love the Bardstown Origin white label. That is like probably one of the most overlooked bottles. It sits on shelves here in Columbus, at least some of the places I go. I think that is amazing. I don't really like the black label so much. It is a disjointed Molotov cocktail, says Jeb. Are you talking about Benchmark Foolproof? Man, Rare Breed is so good. I mean, just in this price range, even though the newer batches are not as good as stuff from 2020 and earlier, yeah, it's crazy. It makes the Green River Foolproof smell like it makes it smell like fluffy cake almost, but in a good way. It doesn't make it smell young. It's just very light and sweet, whereas the Rare Breed, a lot more oak. You know what's weird I'm getting in this comparison? I'm getting a really strong acetone note out of the Rare Breed. I don't know why. Oh man, it's sugar cookies out of the Green River by comparison. That is a crazy comparison. I prefer the Green River on the nose. I think I prefer the Green River all around. I think it's just more of my profile. That's like sacrilegious to say that about Rare Breed. Why does this turkey Rare Breed has as much acetone as some of these Michter's, even more than some of these Michter's bottlings in King of Kentucky, which has it, but I'm going Green River on this. So, Wayne, that is a great way to say it, man. Benchmark Foolproof is mineralized. It's got that texture to it. I'm with you, and I think it's just the lack of age. Tom says, it's green, foolproof, but we added 1.4% too much water and effed up. Sorry, Cam River. Dude, I got to contact Green River. Dan gave me the number for, I think it was Ron today, and said that I think he's expecting to hear from me, which is great. I want to do a Green River pick so bad. I've been hot on Green River ever since I got the Junkies pick. Yeah, he says he knows you'll be reaching out. Oh, man. I cannot wait if that pick happens. Marty, thank you for the super chat, man. Okay, we're going to be able to move on now to this rye flight. I'm going to call you Marty Knows. 2 entries, says, love helping out new channels. LOL, love you, bro. Thanks, man. Hey, by the subs, I basically am still a new channel, you know? I'm an old soul, though. Oh, yeah, Trav, Stag Jr., SRP 59. All right, get out of here, dude. Mark Vasco, maybe a hot take. I prefer Russell's Reserves over Rare Breed in most cases. I'm totally with you. I don't know if that's a hot take. I think Russell's Reserves, when you put the word reserve in a bourbon, I expect that to be better than whatever its counterpart is. So I would probably take that. Honestly, I'd probably take Russell's 10. I love Russell's 10, though. It's been years since I bought a new bottle, so maybe I need to test the waters now. Devin, new Rare Breed's a bit of a letdown. Not bad, but glad I stocked up. Yeah, I can't believe the acetone this has. It's very surprising. I'm going to go back one more Angel's Envy sip now, just to see, after some higher proof stuff, how this feels. Yeah. Do not drink that after higher proof stuff. It feels all the nuance that I had earlier from the development of this thing, feeling broad and rich with this weird development. It's gone. It just feels like super low proof whiskey. So this is not something to go back to. It's something to start your night with for sure. All right, let me clear a few glasses off the table, guys. Oh, crap. So I'm playing a gig this weekend. Sorry, I just found this on my table. Playing a gig this weekend with the Violent Femmes. I don't know the Violent Femmes. You guys might know the Violent Femmes. Blister in the Sun's the only song I've heard of, I think. But their stuff, all these orchestrations require all these crazy sound effects. And like, yes, I play percussion. All the percussion things, drums and cymbals and all that, and keyboards. But we also have to do things like, we have to play like duck calls and stuff. That always comes down to us. It's not like a wind player that does that. So this gig needs like, let's see, where's it at? You got to do all these sound effects. Look at this. Here. This is my other little bird whistle we need. And I need police. I have to play rhythms on police whistle. I have to play this little thing. People that are just jumping in are like, what is happening? But I'm excited to play these things this weekend. I have a box in the basement called Sound Effects, and I've got like slide whistles and flexitones and all sorts of crazy shit in this box. You know, I got my train whistles in here, my cuckoo whistles. What else do I have? Samba whistles. I never get to use this stuff. So anytime I get to use it, I'm excited. Anyways. Sideshow on Acid said Violent Femmes are dope. I truthfully don't know anything about them. So I'm excited. Well, and the one thing that you can always, like for me, I get the music, right? Like I got all this. I did all the part assignments today where I go through and I assign what everybody plays out of these parts, like the whole percussion section. And you can always kind of see if it's going to be a good show based on how the arrangements are. Because it's not like the Violent Femmes made these arrangements for an orchestra. They hired somebody to like take their music and blow it out for an entire orchestra. And so if I get the music and I see it and it's like, it looks well put together and like we're busy and we're doing stuff, you can always assume that it's going to be a fun show. And sometimes you get something and you're just playing like rock, tambourine, and shaker, and you're like, oh my God. Like that was my week last week, was a pretty, I don't want to say boring show, because it had great artists, guys from Rascal Flatts and from Chicago, but the charts weren't great charts. So then we're kind of sitting on our hands back there, not doing much. All right, let's get these out of the way. Who did I told somebody I was going to take a quick taste of the Still Austin Rye, because somebody mentioned it. I think it was Thad. So why not take a quick taste of this, since it is the year of the rye? Randy, you just became 3 tiers cooler. They're such an important part of the history of alternative that leans jazz and folk at times. I need to do some listening. The gig is on Saturday. We have a rehearsal and then the show Saturday. It's a one-day thing. So I need to do a little listening up front to see what I'm in for. Keith says the Femmes are killer. You should really enjoy the change of pace. They will not be reading. That'll be cool. Sean, is this a one-off show or a tour? A lot of these orchestra shows are just kind of, they're either one-offs, or what they'll do is sometimes, like we had Michael Bolton here a few years ago, and he was going around and doing, I think, some shows with orchestra and then some shows by himself. And man, he was in rough shape when he did the show with us. It was kind of sad, actually. You wanted to be like, hey man, you can stop performing now, He could barely move. But it really depends. Like last year we had Neo come and play a show with orchestra. And sometimes when an artist who was as big as Neo in their heyday, who is no longer at that point in their career, and maybe he is. Maybe he's still doing good stuff. I don't know. But it feels to me like sometimes they're like, well, I guess we're going to go play some orchestra shows now. Like they need the money or something. I'm not sure. But in a few weeks, we have Nas coming. Like the rapper Nas is coming to play with us, which that's something he does. He likes to play with orchestras, I guess. Because I don't think that dude necessarily needs to do that kind of a gig. Justin, do you do any shows around St. Louis? I haven't been touring in the last couple of years, though. So, no, but I'd like to get back out and start doing some more stuff. Bobby H., man, you guys are all on it. Violent Femmes, one of the best bands to come out of Milwaukee. My pops loves them. Wow. Got my dogs. Dogs are going nuts. You guys are funny. Sorry about that. All right, so anyways, real quick, Still Austin Bottled and Bond Rye. I've talked about this before. This has a Smarties sweet tart kind of sweetness to it. It is so much candy sweetness on this rye. It literally smells like a pack of Smarties. Behind that, there's a little bit of this like lemon, like a lemon tart, lemon custard. That is so good. It's so rich and sweet with the perfect amount of rye spice. If you guys see this and you like rye whiskeys, you have to buy this stuff. So good. Oh my God. You have to like bright sweetness, but not in a young way. It doesn't feel young, even though the notes I said sound like young whiskey notes. I need 2 more glasses, actually. The time has come. to do this Brook Hill flight. So I'm going to clear some table space, get my phone set up here, and I'm going to start getting through Venmo Super Chats as I go through this flight. We'll start with PayPal just to knock those out because I did see a couple of PayPals come through. Oh, speaking of ryes that were great this year, discussion earlier, had the sample on the table to even mention this too from Jeremy. This is the Old Bones 18-year Canadian rye that they did. 15 years stated on the label, but it's actually 18. Shared Pour put a few more of these bottles up recently, I think. I don't know, at least it was available on the site. And I picked one of these up after tasting this sample. This stuff is the only Canadian whiskey I've ever had where I'm like, holy crap, I have to have a bottle. I think this is phenomenal rye. So, Old Bones, it was like a $100 bottle. It's worth every penny of that. So it's not just a great year for American rye. I know a lot of you like Found North. I'm not a big Found North person, although I still have a lot of samples from Copper Wolf that I need to go through. I found those the other day. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't tasted through those. But it's not just an American rye thing going on right now. So Daniel Nichols on PayPal, thank you, man. I think you've gotten in 3 different times, right? Or 2 different times. Maybe just 2 different times. Let me know if I missed you. I think I've got 1 super chat entry and then 5 entries for $25 on PayPal. Cheers, love the content and glad to get some focus on some rye. Thanks, man. And there was someone else on PayPal. Carlos. Giveaway time. Thank you for all that you do for a 4 entry or $20 super chat. Carlos De La Torre Jr. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm going to pull up the Venmo. I will reiterate one last time before we get into this flight what the giveaway is, and then we're getting into this. I'll start pouring these out. I'm not going to do a blind flight, guys, on this Brook Hill because, you know, I have no familiarity with these barrels. It's not like I know that barrel X or barrel Y is supposedly the best barrel of the bunch. I have zero idea about these, so I don't think there's any reason to blind them. I think blinding them would just make things even more complicated. God, the colors on these things. All of this 11.5-year MGP rye floating around. Oh, jeez Louise. Orlando, thank you for sending these, man. I am excited for this. I'm getting some healthy pours because I feel like I'm going to have to go back and forth on a few of these, you know? So as we go through these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of, I'll give you notes down the line, nose first, then we'll go to palate. We'll kind of set an order for the whiskeys at the end in terms of preference. But what I hope more than just making an order out of these whiskeys, I'm hoping to be able to draw some conclusions about this line, these Brook Hill ryes, if they have a distinguishing factor versus like some of the stuff I've tasted from River Roots or just other things on the market. I don't really know the price points of these, SRP and or secondary. So if you guys, Orlando, maybe you know, maybe some other guys in the chat could fill me in. But I just hope that this is an interesting discussion. One other facet that is on the label of these, by the way, these badass Liquid Ministry bottles. Anybody that sends samples in these bottles, I'm always like, you guys are amazing because I know it's not cheap. And then to have this label and all the detail is so cool. The yield is also on these labels. And that's important because I'm not going to pay attention to that up front, but it could be that the short barrels or shorter barrels in this have a different profile than the others. That's not always the case, but it often is the case. Yo, Alves, what's up, man? Yeah, so Ryan Alves has a top... Well, look, man, I don't know, the drum... This rye right here, I think this could go toe-to-toe with your TKO. I don't know, man. But no, seriously, your rye is a... It would be in the top 2 ryes that I tasted this year. Besides, selfishly, I love this barrel, man. Come on. And yours is like, I guess hazmat, I think, right? It's at least 140. If I remember. Dude, my wife wants one of those so bad. That one that popped up on secondary was like, oh, Too much money from me. Too much. Orlando for the Brook Hill, secondaries 450 plus on all of them. Bedlam fetched 8 bills at one point. Oh my good lord. Man. Now, for real, guys, this barrel that Ryan's talking about from Rare Character, which hopefully I'm going to get in contact, guys, with Rare Character. Tomorrow I'm going to send an email, and fingers crossed that works out. Because also I saw that they got some of what I imagine is the same West Virginia distillate that Old Stubborn's using, as well as like all these other things I've been seeing people talk about, besides just their regular releases, which are cool. Some of the already established lines. Why was I saying this? Anyways, no, this rye that we're talking about, I think it was a really short barrel of this experimental rye, and it's insane. I tried it up at the Junkie's place a few weeks ago when we did the barrel picks. And then I also tried another bourbon from Rare Character that Ryan picked that I think was like 6 years old. Maybe it had dark blue wax. Another, I think, short barrel. And it's crazy how some of these like 5, 6, 7 year short barrels from MGP, if you get them where they have between like 40 to 70 bottles in the barrel, the flavors are so amplified and so tobacco forward and kind of like funky and, you know, that kind of thing. Tony, were you able to meet Ashley from Frey Ranch today? No, I only met Colby today. Ashley was at a different store. They actually were doing double duty, kind of maximizing it between 2 different stores. So I went to the store that Colby was at. Oh, wow, we got a lot of super chats that came in, huh? Or just a few here. Let me see. What am I missing? Okay, so I missed Santiago TC13. Let me get this in here. Santiago TC13. Thank you for the super chat. 2 entries. Enjoy the last content you did with the Junkies. There's more on the way, man. Some of it's less entertaining. Some of it's going to be way more entertaining. At least I hope. You know, I hope I don't look like a dummy. The live stream Tuesday was a lot. And I was kind of annoying in that, so I feel bad. But when, I mean, you know, that's kind of just me sometimes, unfortunately. Sorry about that. 2 entries, Casket Salesman. Year of the Rye. Ponfay, West Sylvania Rye. Still the best new rye. I've never heard of that. Let me write that down. Ponfay? Let's see. I'm going to look this up. Oh, you know what? I tried a crazy rye with the Junkies. Does anybody know if I say this? Someone help me out with what I'm talking about. It was called like Iowa something something rye, and it had the name Iowa in the title of the whiskey, and it was a rye whiskey that tasted like 100% like cheese, like a Kraft macaroni and cheese packet that you get, like the powder stuff. It was weird, and I loved it, but it was not like an entry-level whiskey drinker's kind of pour. Sarah J in for 4. Thank you for your super chat. Cheers and thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so Ryan dropped it there. Dickel aged in Owensboro at Green River is TKO. So, guys, that's what we were talking about earlier. I said it's an experimental mash bill. Someone mentioned it in the chat, the proportions, I think 75-25 or something like that. It's a experimental Dickel rye. Eight-year, 140 proof. Unbelievable. I wish I could find... I wish a lot of that stuff was floating around. I mean, maybe it is, and I just don't know about it, you know? I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but that stuff was awesome. Copper Wolf, I got you in for 4, man. Thank you. Clay says, Violent Femmes will take you down a rabbit hole of 80s alt-rock. Nice. Well, that'll be a fun show Saturday to play. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. We're going to get caught up here so I can get into this flight. David King, thank you, man. Got you in for 1. And Sladvan, still waiting for the Sandlot. Watching, I hate you. God. Okay, moving on. I did not get schooled in the Junkie. Dan beat me by 1 point. Actually, what we found out after the live stream is that Nick Jones also tied us. We missed a point for him. So we all got 13 points and Dan got 14. And Dan will never let us live that down. He beat us by the smallest percentage he could have. Iowa Legendary Rye. That's the rye. That is a crazy-ass whiskey. It tastes like cheese. Hard Truth Sweet Mash is amazing. It sounds like we're going to try to set up a Hard Truth pick. I am going to shoot for a bourbon because we've been picking so many ryes, but again, we'll just see where that lands. Good God. Okay, Iowa Legendary is what we're talking about. Here we go. Let's get into this Brook Hill flight now. I've got Venmo pulled up. We'll catch these as we go. And I'll read your super chats out. Here we go. First up is Went. W-E-N-T is the name of the barrel. Went, 128.06 proof. So this is a big proofer for this MGP rye. 11 years. These are all going to be 11 years, I believe. Okay, I'm not going to look at the yields anymore. I saw the yield on this. I don't want to even read the yields. So, damn, these are going to be good. These are all going to be good. You get, like right off the rip. This is very intense on the nose. It's actually a little overly hot. This can happen with some of these higher proof 11-year MGP ryes that I've tasted this year. They can get a little overly hot. So to me, this is caramelized orange, like big time. That's kind of the biggest note I'm getting. It is herbal. Like, it's minty and herbal. Not dill. By the time that MGP gets to this age, a lot of that dill, if not all of the dill, is gone. Travis says, do you know if who's BR in Memphis has any more of it? They released barrels of that experimental 3 years ago. Oh, geez. What did Ryan say? I don't know if anyone else had released it. We'll have to look around. Oh, wow. That would be pretty cool. Josh, that Iowa rye, if it's what I tasted, was like garbage bag juice. No, it tastes like cheese, bro. Garbage bag is good. That's a good note. BR Distilling is who does Blue Note. Oh, okay. Okay. I was thinking of like Blue Run. No, like what's BR? Ryan, David Jennings and I did a Brook Hill rye pick coming out later this summer. Oh, man. All right, so Went. Smells good. Still a little overly hot. Jesus. Okay, here's what I'm going to have to do. Oh, my God, that's good. I'm going to have to pour out some of this. At the end, I want to compare. Wow, that is... that's... Okay. So the nose on this did not set me up for how intense the palate was going to be with regards to flavor, not spice. Like the spice, you knew it was going to be there based on the proof, based on how hot the nose was. The palate has it has this note that our barrel, the next barrel of River Roots, it's like saying rural. I can't do it, especially after a few drinks. The next two barrels of River Roots that we put out, one is going to be a super sweet, bright version of this, and the other is going to be really funky. So we called it Funky Monkey, and we called it Chunky Monkey. And the funky one has this note of wet rocks, and like it's a little bit mineral, but not in a Dickel way. It's just crazy funky tobacco kind of notes. This barrel Went of Brook Hill has that note. Okay, so we're off to a good start here. It's almost like doing a barrel pick because it's 6 samples of the same stuff, just different barrels. Durrell, so I think this is all of them that have been released. That's what Orlando was saying. I'll give you the names right now. So it's Went, Kendo, Bedlam, Want, Lagos, and Las Palmas. So, Joe, what did I, double duty? Did I say double duty? Oh God, I don't even want to know, man. Oh God. All right, on to the next one. Kendo. I'm going to cover up the yield on this. Proof is 122, so a little lower proof on this 11-year Kendo. Oh, this is an easy one. Kendo on the nose is way, way less intense, but it doesn't have a lot of, I'm going to say flavor, you know what I mean, aroma, whatever. It doesn't have a lot out of the glass. It's kind of hot and just ethanol. When I come back to Went, which I said was so much caramelized orange, and it's more floral than I even first noticed on this one. It jumps out of the glass, even though it is hot and very intense. Kendo on the nose, like when I did these barrel picks with River Roots, this is a barrel that I would probably skip over, you know, just based on the nose alone. It's like, wow, it's not opening up at all. Yeah. That one to me, very short finish, short palate. Wow, it's gone already. It's 122 proof 11-year MGP rye, and it's gone already. So that one to me is like, I would put that aside immediately if I were picking these. The other thing you got to remember when people did, I don't know if these were picks or if these were like in-house distillery releases. Sometimes on picks, you never know what you're going to get. You work with what you have. Things all feel relative in the moment to what the worst pour is that you have in front of you. So then if the best thing is not that much better, it's going to feel a lot better in the moment because of the comparison that you're making, you know, if you have a small range of choices. So you never really know. It's kind of hard to grade people's barrel picks because you just don't know what the context was in the moment. All right, Brett, I'll see you later, man. Thanks, dude. Let's go on now to the next one. This is Bedlam. Okay, I covered the yield. This is 125 proof, so it's somewhere between the last two. A little different nose than the other two. Let me grab a couple of these Venmo super chats. Travis, I saw you super chatted before the live stream. I love it, man. Shooting my shot, but 99% certain this becomes more floor whiskey or gas money for your next trip. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Justin Potts, who's helping, you know, set some of these picks up, which is awesome. Year of the Rye, he says, in for 20 or four entries. Thank you. Let me grab a few more of these. Christopher S. in for 2, says 2 entries. Jeb just called me a thief, so we're just going to give him 4 entries, and we're going to move swiftly along, Jeb. Thanks, man. I'll ship your Fox and Odin tomorrow. Bobby Holton in for 4. Thanks, man. Says Rye Night. And Tim, Mr. Tim Tam Slam, I got you in for 2. All right, let's move back into these. Ryan says, I think these were all just released by Rare Character, not picked by someone. Okay. So I'm not trying to, like, you know, not trying to shit on anybody by saying that. The other thing about this is this first barrel Went that I tried, this could very well end up being the best one of the lineup. So starting with that might not be fair. The nose at first, again, wasn't like, I didn't think it was going to be great, and then the palate was insane. So, all right, on to Bedlam. Oh, Jeb says, I sent that Venmo when you were showing the glass. Oh, I thought you were talking about me just stealing your money on things I'm sending your way. Sorry, Jeb. Bedlam to me, this is more vanilla sweet on this MGP rye profile, which is kind of similar to the one that we picked, which was the Chunky Monkey pick that we did. This is a little sweeter profile overall. So it still has a lot of the same notes as the other ones, you know, this kind of herbal, floral component to it. That caramelized orange is more in the background. And you get this vanilla thing coming up. That's a great palate. Oh, it's like a laser beam. It just hits you and goes. So this would be one of those whiskeys on a barrel pick for me, like, as I'm learning and doing more of these things, where you smell it and you go, oh, okay, it's all right, but then you drink it and the palate is so damn good that if it came down to this whiskey, Bedlam, if it came down to this barrel versus one that smelled better but drank a little flatter, we would have to pick this one. That would be the thought process for me. Darrell, did that make it to you safely? I was hoping it did, because I know some of those in transit can be a little strange. Jeb knows about that. I love that Old Stubborn. It's not for everybody, but I do like it. Josh says, you just showed one glass, Cam. I forgot my other non-stolen Virtue glass, because they are Virtue. They're actually not Evernorth glasses. Yeah, they say Virtue on them. I left the other one in the distillery. I was pissed. I got home. I was trying to get one for me and Sarah. His and hers stolen property. And then, of course, I left the other one there. All right, so Bedlam is cool. Bedlam is definitely better than Kendo. Yeah, 100%. Went is still in the lead, though. Kind of ordering these as I go. Russ K. Good night, crew. Early start tomorrow. Good weekend. Thanks, Russ. Have a good one tomorrow, man. And see you around in the Discord. We have 151 people in here, which is incredible. Thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hey, the giveaway tonight for the Super Chats, we're going to wrap the giveaway up at, let's say, 10:55 p.m., so that's just before we hit the 2-hour mark on the stream. So we got 20 more minutes on the giveaway. The giveaway tonight, just a quick reminder, I haven't tasted this yet tonight. I will after this flight. It's the second bottle of the Evernorth rye that we did. This is Sarah's barrel, the darker of the two barrels that we picked. We're giving away 2 bottles of this to 2 different winners. You'll also get a sample of the first barrel that we picked. These are going to be dropping in the Patreon in the next 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the junkies getting these. They ran out of these kind of faux tack strips on the top. So once those come in, we get those on the last 60 bottles. They can get sent to DC. We can get those listed and sold. So we got 2 of these barrels dropping, about 350 total bottles or so, which is a lot, but I think we can do it. I have faith that we can do this. This is the darker of the 2, more cola forward. The other one's more bright cherry, like very, very fruity. This one has a little darker, grittier, more cola notes to it. And I'll also throw in 4 other samples. One of the other barrel, one of Chateau de Labade Batch 1, one of Michterston 2023A, the best A barrel that I've tried, barrel 26. And the other sample is going to be a 1990 Old Grandad Bottled and Bond 8-year. So kind of a nice spread of things there. Ryan says, we can do this. We got him, man. I think, it's Evernorth. It's going to, if it goes public, which it probably will. I mean, we have 200 paid members in the Patreon. If they all bought a pair, or if 170 people buy it, it'll sell out. But we'll go through the Patreon once. We'll go back for multiples. Then we'll go public. I think within 48 hours, the bottles are going to be gone. Darrell says, Holy Darkness. Yeah, these bottles are... they're no slouch, man. This rye, this 6-year Sagamore rye, we picked 2 ridiculous barrels. There were 2 other really good barrels, too. One had a flat palate. It tasted just like root beer, but the palate was too flat. We couldn't pick it, which was a major bummer. And they're going to put it in a big blend, and I wish they would just do like a 2-barrel blend with that one, because it's... I don't know. I love that whiskey. Barrel 9. And then barrel 10 is also very good. Josh says, very good picks, Cam, both of them. Thanks, man. All right, let's go on now to the next. This is Want. This one, I'm going to cover that. So another 128 proofer. It's actually the same exact proof as Went. Is there really a barrel called Want and a barrel called Went? And with the exact same 128.06 proof? Huh. Ryan, yeah, these are the 52s. They said that you had a barrel there that you put your name on and said, I'll come back for that in a few years. Brian was tasting some 95 and 52 Sag Ryes yesterday, and man, dude, the 52 Ryes and this, they're bottled in bonds, which I don't know if this is a blend of the mash bills or one just individually. Dude, even this stuff is crazy. Value on those bottles out the, wazoo. I bet the bottles you picked are great. I just don't trust those guys they had running the bottling line. We had a great time, man, bottling Spirit Walker. Want was the latest release. Okay. All right, I got to do a little... Okay. On the nose, Bedlam, I think, is better than Want. For those of you that don't know what I'm... who aren't tracking this, I'm sorry. But for Orlando, who is my bourbon palate, he knows what I'm talking about. The thing that makes the nose on these special is when they can come out of the glass and they don't feel hot. Because it's so easy for these whiskeys to feel extra spicy, too much cinnamon, too much just like kind of oak spice and heat. When that gets replaced by root beer notes and brown butter and caramelized orange, that's when these ryes, I think, are special. And like this is the one we picked from River Roots. And it has those notes. It's just a lower proof. This is 119. So it, from an intensity standpoint, it doesn't stand up to these Brook Hills, which are all of the higher proof versions. I know Subtle Spirits also picked up some of these higher proof barrels in the 130s, actually. River Roots had one of those 130 barrels. It was like 132 or 133, but it was actually too hot, and it did the whiskey a disservice. So that's why we picked this one. Want is on the nose. It's just average for these barrels. And the palate is also just kind of average, I think. It's not as like laser focused as Bedlam was, which just punches you immediately. Want felt more broad on the tongue. It does feel very sweet. I like the sweetness. That's definitely in the running for, like, I'm going to put it just behind Bedlam. Went is still in the lead. That first barrel is ridiculous. But this one's definitely in the running. Jimmy Shirley, how is Spirit Walker 2? It's better than Rio, which that doesn't mean much coming from me because I do not like Rio. I also don't like Amburana finishes, except for the barrel Amburana. I haven't had the Doc Swenson's. Everyone says that one's good too. Spirit Walker has more Amburana than I normally like, but the honey does balance it. The proof helps it. So for me, I would see myself drinking that as a dessert whiskey for sure. And if you do like Amburana stuff, you're going to want to buy it. Like it strikes that balance between the honey sweetness and the Amburana that I think, Rio to me is just kind of a mess. With all due respect, it's just not my style of whiskey. And I know a lot of people do like Rio. A lot of people pay a lot of money for Rio. I got this Brook Hill Pablo Honey Emerson Shotwell release. I guess it's supposed to be good. I don't know. See, I'm not actually familiar with these releases. It's so like... These releases are so cult almost. Like, they're so small, and I could never keep up with all this. I feel like if I lived in Kentucky, I would know more about some of these releases. Ryan says they told them to lose that barrel and we'll find it in 6 years. Yeah, exactly. Let me grab a few more super chats, guys, from the Venmo. Russ threw in 4 entries. Thanks, man. With a bunch of drum emojis. Love it. Greg Y with 2 super chat entries says, "Why not?" Thank you. William Hines with a freaking massive $100 super chat. Walker, thanks, man. In for 20. God. Thanks, dude. Cheers to that. I'll say cheers with a little bit of this, the better barrel that I've had so far. The best one went. That's a ridiculous barrel. Okay. Brian. Let me get you in here, Brian, for 2 entries. Says, never know, could be a winner. Michael Schneider, I'll get you. We'll get 2 more of these. We'll get back to this blind. Actually, it's not a blind flight. I'm just so used to saying that. Guy. Oh, my God, Guy. $125 super chat. You're going to make me do math. I'm just kidding. It's 25 entries. I did it quick. Thank you. Cheers, man. Hope you're doing well. My God, Guy. Thanks, man. I'll take this opportunity to say cheers to you with the pour of the River Roots, just so I can get it on the palate and see how this compares. Yeah, the proof does help these other ones. Damn it. Well, there's a reason these Brook Hills are sought after. I get it now. I get the hype. Okay, we'll get back to the We'll get back to the Venmo soon, but let's get into this flight again. Someone was texting me here. Travis. Okay. I'm gonna plug in my phone. My phone is always dying on these freaking live streams. That Emerson release is a bourbon, and the barrel is crazy short. I think it yielded 40. Yeah, then that's going to be wild. What's the age on that Emerson release? Randy says, Cam, this River Roots Distillery pick is amazing. I'm glad you like it, Randy. This barrel went, smacks it, which is crazy to me. Well, the nose is actually close, but the palate I don't think is close. All right, let's get on to barrel number 5 of the bunch, which is Lagos. This is 126 proof. Let's check this out. What did Devin say? What a guy. Walker, I own Went. From my tasting of 2 each, the Brook Hill ryes are much better than their bourbons. The bourbons are 10, right? 10 year? So what's the source on that? Is it like roses or something? Mary Beth Height, what's up? Cam, loving your Dark Arts 10-year pick. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. Jesse, I'll go back and do a final comparison at the end of this. I think on the palate, it's going to take it just based on proof. It's literally like the same profile, but dialed up, which is awesome. Oh, they're MGP bourbons. Oh. I didn't realize that. And it's 10-year on the Brook Hill Emerson Shotwell. Then I'm sure that at a short barrel 10-year is probably insane. All right, Lagos here. Lagos has a distinct wheat bread smell to it. It's very, very bready to me. So it's almost more bourbon-like in that way. Like brown, this again, sorry for the description, like brown caramelized types of notes on this. That's completely different. I like the fact that that's so unique. It's way more rye and herbal on the back end, like big spiced orange notes on the back end. It's like Christmas and Thanksgiving on the finish. But up front, that weird wheat bread caramelized thing. Devin, pick better, Cam. Drain pouring River Roots Rye 1 now. Bro, if you're going to drain pour that, you better send it to me. I will drive to Michigan for that. Darrell, rumored to be beam on the bourbons, and upon tasting, I would think that the bourbons are distilled in Kentucky. Oh. Oh, interesting. I wonder if it's that same stuff that River Roots has, which is the 78.5 corn mash bill. Brian, Cam, you would love the Pablo Emerson bottle. You can't find one, but you have to trust me. Do you have one? You son of a bitch. Do you have one? I'm driving to Louisville, man. Here we go. Some speculation that some of the Brook Hill bourbons are Heaven Hill. So everyone's saying different things. Good Lord. Oh, what is this note on this Lagos? You know what this smells like? Lagos has a William LaRue Weller note. And, guys, tomorrow my review of the Buffalo Trace pre-Prohibition collection comes out. So I filmed a review up at the Junkies yesterday. And then probably like 30 minutes later, Dan and Sean filmed their blind that they put out today. And then we decided they put out the blind first. And then tomorrow I'm going to put out the review. I have to finish editing. I'm like halfway done. The Spiritus Frumenti, which is the name of the whiskey in that 5-bottle collection. Spiritus Frumenti is a wheated bourbon at 110 proof, I think. And it tastes like a mini William LaRue Weller. This Lagos has, because I said wheat bread, I'm getting William LaRue Weller vibes on this. This is in the top 3 conversation. Well, I don't know. This is tough. I'll come back to it. Went is still in the lead. Bedlam and Want with Lagos. That's going to be a tough thing. Devin, was your favorite the Burnt Tire and Sulphur Old Stag? I think they're kind of... Look, the Old Stag, I was a little too nice on in that review. I've been this way recently. My reviews have been a little too easygoing, I think. I need to be a little harder on whiskeys again. Because like Bullet Barrel Strength, I should have grilled a little bit more. Anyways, I just get in my head about this stuff. The Old Stag, I don't get those notes on the Old Stag. I just thought it was too hot. And I tied it for second, and I should have definitively put it in third. That should have been the move. That's like a super small detail. The best whiskey in that collection is Spiritus Fermenti, like by a mile. It's not close. It's not worth $1,000. Do not buy that collection. It's like the 90 proofer in that collection. Buffalo Trace standard bourbon is probably better than the 90 proofer in that collection. Probably. If not, then Blanton's definitely is. Jeb, you're becoming soft as baby shit. Am I, dude? God! I gotta get it back. I gotta get it back. James says, is King's Leap a bourbon? King's Leap, Bedlam, and Want in the current Unicorn auction, all over 300. That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. I'm definitely not getting media samples from Sazerac or Heaven Hill. I feel like Source Beam would stick out, and I just don't get that in any of the Brook Hill bourbons. You've been too nice since the holiday. Damn! Am I slipping? I feel like I had this moment, like, recently, where I was thinking to myself, oh man, I need to find the good things about whiskeys. You know, I need to find the good things in these bourbons and stop being such a dick. I've had this conversation with myself, but I think now I've gotten to the point where every time I do a review, I'm just trying to find the good in the whiskey, as opposed to being like, hey, spend your $50 somewhere else. Ryan, the 4 Brook Hill bourbons I have are Kentucky Straight, as well as Old Cassidy, which is BH juice. Oh, you're saying the Old Cassidy is Brook Hill juice. I wonder where it's from. Bring back the laser codes. I think, man, after this Junkies release with the laser code stickers, I got to put the laser codes to bed. We got to be done. Remember, you're the Alex Jones of bourbon. Look, I'll wear that title proudly. I'm just kidding. Never mind. I have a funny meme that I made with Alex Jones in it. All right, let's go to the last one. Jeez, look, Jesus. Las Palmas is 124.7. Last one of the bunch. I think I really like this nose. It smells like blueberries. Like 100% smells like blueberries. Wow. All right. That's cool. Oh, shit. I like that a lot. This tastes like blueberry pie. It is so rare to get like a distinct blueberry note in whiskey for me. It's usually blackberry, raspberry, strawberry, cherry, grape. Oh, my God. It just tastes like blueberry pancakes, blueberry pie. I love this whiskey. I don't know if it's the best whiskey in the bunch, but like flavor profile wise, that might be my favorite. What a question. Will the winner of this flight go on to compete against the Iowa Legendary? No, I don't actually have any of that here. Sean, does anyone remember when Homer Simpson was a food critic? He was giving 12 thumbs up. I never really watched The Simpsons. But that sounds hilarious. All right, let me grab a couple of PayPals here, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. William Hall says libations. That might get flagged by PayPal, but that's okay. Got you in for 4, man. Thank you. Las Palmas was my favorite of the bunch, says Orlando. This is very good. It's so different than the others. Let me do a couple quick side-by-sides, guys. I'll just kind of breeze through this and then set my order. The most important thing for me to to determine. I'm trying to say to determine. The most important thing for me to determine in this is what the first and last places are, right? I want to set first place up front and then work backwards from there. I know Kendo, I think, is my last place. It just doesn't drink well. It's crushable, like, in a bad way for me because it has no finish. So that is my last place, and that's great. I want to now go between Las Palmas and Went for my first place. What's up, Leo? So Went, like I said earlier, is so damn funky. Guys, we're going to wrap up the Super Chats now for the giveaway tonight. If something comes in the next, like, let's say 30 to 60 seconds, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapped up. We'll do the giveaway as soon as I finish up this flight, but at least the entries are going to be done. So let me take the banner off. Travis, I remember the banner. All right, Went. Man, it's just that root beer brown butter thing. And now Las Palmas. Went takes it on the nose for me. I'm going to drink Las Palmas first. Hey, BT. Hey, you won last week's giveaway. Email me. I got to get your address and send you that bottle from last week, man. There you go. Let me get you in for 2 right now. There you go, drumsanddrams@gmail.com. Send me an email with your address, please. All right, on to Las Palmas on the palate. That's so fucking good. Oh my God. That blueberry thing in here is so crazy. It even has the tartness. I haven't had... That is the first time I've had one of these 11-year ryes. I've now tasted 22 barrels of this stuff. That's the first one that's ever tasted like that. All right, on to Went. And the vanilla note. That's like vanilla cream on this. Jesus. This could be a tie. No kidding at all. Please email me. I was like, oh my gosh. I went through after I packed up a bunch of things and I was realizing that, like, I printed one less label than I need for these boxes. And then I'm like, oh, I never got an email. Leo, I'll get to Venmos. Don't worry. I'll catch up here at the end. I want to get through the rest of this flight. I just want to set my order. I probably got to go with Went. I feel like Las Palmas is hotter, even though Went is a higher proof. All right, I'm gonna go with my gut. So Went is in first place. I have to figure out these middle 3 very quickly, and then I'll wrap up on this. All right, so Ryan says, Brook Hill is Pablo's Willett family estate, so in the spirit of Purple Tops, they are all named uniquely, not usually anything to do with the whiskey itself, just creating that barrel nickname lore. That's pretty cool. I think it's funny. Went and Want is pretty funny to me. Kendo, Bedlam, yeah, Las Palmas, all of it's pretty cool. It's a better version of what Blue Run is doing. Like, I was making fun of Blue Run on, I think that was on the Junkie stream Tuesday. It's like they're like doing these landscape names, but they're so specific. I actually like the mystery of this. Yeah. It's almost like a song title, you know? Like a song title that has nothing to do with what happens in the song. Sometimes you see song titles and I don't know. That title comes back in the chorus of the song. And then other songs, you have a title and that never gets said in the song. That's what this reminds me of. I don't know if that's a stupid analogy, though. I didn't tie. I'm not tying. Went is first. Las Palmas is the closest second you can imagine for two very different reasons. I'm going to go, all right, Bedlam, Lagos, and Want for these middle three. So, all right, that was Bedlam on the palate. Jesse says, Blue Run deserves all the ridicule they get, part of being fair. From my biggest issue is just the price. Like, I know they're trying to curate. I mean, I guess they've been bought out by Coors, right? But they were trying to really curate this upper echelon, very hip, very marketable brand. I get it. I get it. It's not my thing. I'm not into that because a lot of it just felt so artificially inflated, which is kind of what you have to do when you're trying to go that route with the product. I like some of the whiskey. You know what I liked that a lot of people really took a dump on, and maybe I even did at one point? I have it on the floor behind me. The Golden Rye. It's like 95 proof rye. It drank like sweet tea, but it was so crushable. It's like a summertime whiskey. I always liked that. And I like the cast strength rye they did. But the high rye bourbons and different things and Reflection series, that's the stuff I wasn't really into. And then you get into the barrel picks or the single barrels, and there's just, it's almost like you're doing too many of those 12 Days of Christmas or whatever it was. Like the different series they put out. I thought there was too much of that, and then it became not special, and they were kind of fighting themselves on those releases. But like the thing is, I'm sure there are a lot of good people behind the brand. It's just the way that everything ended up manifesting. It didn't feel great. And I also think part of it was the time it came out. Like think of it. It was during COVID. Everybody's hurting financially at the same time that the whiskey boom is going up because we're all slowly becoming alcoholics in our houses working from home, right? All those things combined, and it didn't feel great, you know? Yeah, Brian, the Golden Rye had some really great stuff going on, even though it was such low proof. But I could just sit and just drink that stuff. All right, let's go to Lagos on the palate. Yeah, that's good. I'll do this quick. All right, I'm going to stick with Want in 5th place. So it's now just between Lagos and Bedlam for 3rd and 4th. It's not that consequential at this point for 3rd and 4th place, but I want to finish this out. On the nose, Lagos is winning. Now let's check the palate, though. Lagos is a little bit more of what I like from these releases. That, again, that root beer, brown butter, caramelized orange, but in lesser quantities from the winner, which is Went. It's a little less put together than that pour. Now Bedlam, one last time. All right, I got to switch them. Bedlam drinks better. So this is my final order. Kendo is in last. Want is in second to last. And this is pretty, like, these two are pretty easily put in the bottom two. Kendo, to me, feels like it probably shouldn't have been released in this line because the others are such high quality. And that one really falls off. Kendo is a yield of 132 bottles, which is strange because it's not short for these, but it's less bottles than a lot of these barrels are going to produce. Being such a short palate on it and being this short of a barrel, and a lower proof, 122, might be the lowest. It is. Yeah, I don't know. That just didn't work for me today. Want in second to last, fifth place, 128 proof, 150 bottles. All right, so now let's get into the top four. So this next one, Lagos, which again had a lot of those like really funky flavors to it, but it wasn't quite as put together as the winner, which had very, very similar flavors of caramelized orange, brown butter, root beer, all the things I like in these ryes. 102 bottles. That makes a lot of sense to me, given the flavor profile. Third place, Bedlam. Oh my God, 66 bottles. Okay. It doesn't have the short barrel feel to it on the nose. But the palate does. This is the one I think I said was laser focused. I think. If I didn't, and I'm screwing that up, oh well. The palate does have a really nice intensity to it, though. 66 bottles. Second place, Las Palmas, 126 bottles. So not short, but not, a lot of these barrels have 140 to 160 in them. Even at 11 years, they do. So 126 with this blueberry note. Oh, that's so good. And finally, the winner went with 150 bottles, so not short at all. That's special whiskey. So Went, flavor profile-wise, is so damn close to one of the barrels that we're going to put out at the end of July for the channel, which is the Funky Monkey barrel. That one is very, very close. And I think there was a pour in here that was very sweet, that reminded me of the Chunky Monkey. I don't remember which one it was, though. So, wow. Darrell says, my Want bottles... Oh. 126 proof and 126 bottles. Let me see here. Oh, you know what? I think maybe Orlando didn't change the yield and proof on these two by accident because they're the exact same. I think the name changed from Want to Went on the labels, and the states changed because it does say on here where it was released, California or Massachusetts. So you have Want, right? Because that would be Massachusetts, yeah. So I think he just maybe didn't change the age or the proof and the yield. But look, the fact is, we are in a glut of rye whiskey from MGP at this age right now, and even like, look, Kendo, I'm not a big fan of the last one in here. The top 5, I would buy a bottle of at 150 or under if you find it at that price. So when you see these popping up from various NDPs, do not hesitate to buy these bottles. It's so good. Josh, do you say price range on what these run? I don't know what the SRP is. Secondary is a few hundred. Make Rye Great Again 24, says Brian. I know, man. It's crazy how good these ryes are. And, I mean, a lot of them are these 11-year MGPs, but like we said today, we've got the TKOs and the crazy shit coming from NDPs that are sourcing. We've got Bullet 12, Green River Rye. The Michter's Barrel Strength Rye this year is great. Still Austin. The A. Overholt, Sagamore, the junkie stuff from Evernorth. It's the year of the rye. So on that note, let me get the rest of these super chats in, guys. There's actually not too many to go, which is nice. And then we will do the giveaway, wrap this stream up, and call it a night. Casey, no, come on. Darrell says 200 retail on the rye and 250 for the bourbon. So I don't hate 200 for the rye. It's worth that. Like for me, the top 4 of these are worth 200 SRP. Like it's special whiskey. But you can find this River Root stuff. Again, I hate to keep going back to it, but these guys are killing it because prices at River Roots, $115 for this rye. That's a steal. I'm not trying to dissuade you from buying Brook Hill if you see it, but you're probably not going to see it. There's not a lot of this stuff going around. But the other people sourcing this stuff, just keep an eye out on these NDPs that might be buying the 10 to 11 year 36 rye bourbon barrels and also the 11 to 11 and a half year 95.5 rye barrels. The one is 126.22. I pulled the labels off the RC site where there's a misprint. My bad. Nice, man. All right. Well, I'm glad we figured that out. So, cool. All right, let's wrap up with these super chats. Did I miss anybody in the live chat? I don't think I did. 120 for the OKI, says Darrell. I didn't buy this. Well, I bought the seal box. It took 3.5 weeks. They hadn't shipped it, and I just emailed them, and I was like, just cancel my order. I'm not waiting any longer. So I didn't get the OKIs, unfortunately. I have no frame of reference for what those barrels were like. It was 127.7 proof, I think, or something along those lines, which is a great proof point, but I don't know. Oh, today is the summer solstice. It is probably still light out. That's funny. All right. Justin Biggs. Let's see. I got to put an S in Justin. In for one entry, says another Thursday, another stream. Thanks for the entertainment. Thanks, man. Got you in. Matt Thomas says, let's go Cam. Thanks, man. $10, 2 entries. Jesse, I got you in for 2 entries as well. Says, get rye tonight. William Molnar with a $50 super chat. Thank you, dude. Let's see here. Says, I missed December. Just spent 28 hours over 2 days in a converted semi-trailer for a union contract vote. AC no way kept up. Killed the generator with 90 minutes to go. Got up to 119 in there. Rant over. Thanks for listening. Oh my God, dude. That sounds terrible. I hope you're making that money to go along with the 119 degrees. Good Lord. All right. Cheers to that, dude. I'll drink for your sake. Frederick Morris, 4 inches, $20 super chat. Spin the wheel, Evernorth. Nice. Thanks for getting in. Let's see, Julie Stockton, excuse me. And for 1 entry, says giveaway. Lance Ortiz with a $20 super chat in for Sarah's pick. KCD, let me get you in here. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight, by the way. We had an amazing turnout this evening, which I did not expect. I felt a little bit off earlier when I was getting ready for this live stream, and so I'm glad to see that I had a lot of fun tonight, and I feel like I got out of my little funk. KCD says, Hawk Tua. Okay. All right. Jerry Arnold. Hawk Tua is what it says. You guys, if you know, you know. Do you want to know? I don't know. Jerry Arnold with 1 entry. Evernorth ain't one of those. It ain't one of those Ambarana bottles. No, it's not. Although they make a good, as far as that goes, they do a good job on it with the honey and the balance and putting older stuff in the blend. Joe W says, cheers, friend. Thank you, Joe. So, Joe, I saw your comment in the stream earlier. The master distiller from Hard Truth did not ever respond to me, but Justin Potts ended up emailing somebody there who I think is probably like a marketing person or a single barrel person. They responded to him, and now I'm picking up that conversation. So I think Hard Truth is probably going to be a go, which is exciting. And I figure the master distiller probably, is swamped and doesn't have time to deal with that maybe, but It was a little bummer, but that's okay. Marshall says, cheers, sipping on a 14-year Knob Creek pick from 2020. Forgot how good these were. Yeah, those are still some of the best deals in whiskey, of the last 5 years or 5 to 8 years or whatever it was. Charles Chipman says, Evernorth giveaway in for one. Thank you. Carlos jumping in for another 2 entries on Venmo here. And Leo Ruth says, I'm late, no idea, with 3 entries. Thanks, guys. So I think we're good to go on Venmo. Let me check PayPal one last time. Travis, God bless America, dude. We're good on PayPal, and we are good here. So let me get this pulled up for you, share my screen, and we'll get on with the old giveaway. Thank you all for your freaking amazing support tonight. Let me make sure this is going to work. All right. There we go. So there you go. Check your name in the left column as we normally do here. If you're new to this, your name is in the left column. Your number of entries is on the right, which is your dollar amount divided by 5. It's $5 per entry. So Keith with a $20 super chat divided by $5 per super chat, 4 entries, and his name populates 4 times over here on this list, which I'm going to copy and paste into the randomizer with the magic of this spreadsheet from Amy Bohm. So Keith down to Christopher. Check your entries, please, for me. And then we'll do Christopher to the bottom of the list on a second round of checking. If you entered twice, on here you should see Daniel Nichols entered twice. There, with a $10 super chat, 2 entries. And here, with a $25 super chat, 5 entries. Your name will appear for each entry. It's not all combined. So if I made a mistake, please let me know in the chat. If you catch this tomorrow on the replay and I made a mistake then, we'll add you with an extra super chat or an extra couple, depending on your dollar amount, to the next giveaway on the live stream, whenever that's going to be. This will be the last giveaway for a week or 2. We're not going to do one next week, I don't think. But I appreciate all your support. Yeah, Sarah with an H, Devin with an H. Devin, Jesus criminy. I'm not going to put that on the screen. Oh, so now I guess I need to do a comparison, an official comparison between these top 2 and the River Roots rye pick that we did. And when we get the new barrels from River Roots, I'm going to be curious to see how these compare, because I do still have about an ounce left of each of these Brook Hill ryes, so that'll be fun. Sean said, don't forget to raise a glass to Donald Sutherland. I just saw that earlier. Yeah. What are all the barcode numbers in column H? Says that? I have no idea. That's an Amy question. I have no idea. All right, if there's no issues, we're going to scroll down now from Christopher. Oh, we're not going to even... Well, I know Leo is right. I know Carlos is right on this. So, okay, work with me here. Work with me here, mouse. From Christopher down to Charles. Check your entries, please. Then we'll get the show on the road. Oh, randomly assigned numbers between 0 and 1. Oh, okay. More barcode conspiracy. I love it. Stephen Edwards, I'm not in, sent 20 super via PayPal. I may have missed that. I don't see that, actually. Could you please check on your end? Because I don't have that on my end. My PayPal has 3 entries. William Hall, Daniel Nichols, and Carlos. 20, 25, and 20. So, if you don't mind checking that for me. Steven. Sorry about that. Justin, dude, we should call Sarah's. If you want to enter now on this, if it didn't go through for some reason, that's fine. We can add you in. But I just, I want to make sure, I promise I'm not messing around here. I could hold this up to the screen if you want. I wonder if you sent it to the right place. Yeah, I just don't have it. No. Drums and scams. No, let me see here in my email if something came in. Some people have sent it to the wrong place and it's somehow ended up with me. So just let me check in real quick on my email. Thanks for bringing it up. Daniel Nichols. I see Carlos in my email. No, I don't have it, man. The cash button on screen. I don't know what that cash button. Steven, was it a super chat in the live chat maybe? Let me go back and look. I'm going to scroll up here. Sorry about that. Oh, I gotcha. It was in the live chat. Thank you for bringing that up. That's why we do this. All right. Steven, so sorry about that, man. I don't know how I missed this. I grabbed that 152.7 proof River Roots on Sealbox recently. Can't wait to get it. So that was that malt whiskey. That is some crazy-ass whiskey. Dude, I'm so sorry I missed your super chat. Thank you for saying that. And I appreciate it. I got you in for those 4. There we go. Great catch. Thanks, man. Okay. Well, there we go. This is the list from Keith down to Steven here at the bottom. Let me open up a new tab. We'll go to the randomizer here. Paste that in. As you saw, it was Keith all the way down to Steven. 7 spins. 1, 2, 3. Top 2 win it, remember. 4, 5, 6. And thank you all for your support tonight. I really, really freaking appreciate it. 7. It is Dan H. and Keith winning this evening. Congrats, you two. I'm going to put my email in the chat. Please email me your address, and I will get these sent out to you on Monday. It's so hot outside, I'm going to wait till Monday so that it ships and arrives in the same week. Congrats, you guys. There we go. All right, now let's do a final comparison. I have to do this for myself. The top 2 barrels of this Brook Hill flight up against the first rye pick that we had, which I've been saying is one of my favorite MGP ryes I've ever had. Well, these barrels are all so good. So, geez. Tim says, no one runs a cleaner giveaway. Thanks, man. It's a little sketchy, to be honest with you, sometimes, but in the sense of, like, you know, rules and stuff. But, yeah, I want to be, if we're going to do something like that, I want it to be completely transparent. Hey, we've got a couple new Patreon members, actually, that jumped in during the stream, which is awesome. Thank you, guys. I actually opened up a couple more spots on Patreon. I opened up 3 more micro batches, which is the top tier, $50 a month. I know that's a lot of money. That's only for people that are, able to contribute in that way, that want to get in on barrel picks and all that kind of stuff, and want guaranteed access to buying barrel picks and a good chance at attending them as well. I opened up 3 more micro batches spots, and I opened up 5 more Whiskey Drummer spots at the $25 tier. There will only ever be one more opening like this on the channel. I'll open up 2 more micro batches to get to a total of 30, and I'll open up 5 more Whiskey Drummers to get to a total of 60, and that's it. I only ever want to have 90 people in the top 2 tiers, so if we pick a reasonably yielding barrel of 120 to 180 bottles, those top people are pretty much guaranteed a bottle. I guess maybe in the future there could be more $25 tier folks. Maybe. 10 to 20 more in the future, but I'm not planning on that right now. I'm planning on keeping this pretty limited because I want those people to have that access. And then the $10 tier is where it gets competitive for picks. And the $5 tier is the one where there's no guarantees. You just want to support the channel, be in the Patreon, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, it's a great way to support being on the Patreon. And, thanks to the folks jumping in tonight. It looks like, let's see who it was. Marty jumped in. Oh, Marty Whiskey Nose. Awesome. Daniel Nichols upgraded to the 25 tier. All right. And Jacob Cowles, Jacob C, another $25 member. So there we go. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's do this comparison now. Devin, you don't have to be transparent, Cam. You're underneath most people's line of sight anyways. Buddy. Let's go. Dude. Woo. All right, Devin. I'll see you at the next barrel pick, man. I'm just going to shank you. I'm just kidding. I won't do that. Guy says, had 2 pours of the Drums and Drams River Roots pick tonight. So damn good. Curious to see this comparison. Joe, how do they compare to the Maryland Heritage bottles? I'll grab them. I'm probably not gonna do all 3 of these. Here's what I'll do. I'll pour some of these ryes back, and I'll reuse the glasses, and I'll actually pour them into glasses here. I won't just rip them off the top. It is a good comparison, though. Tim Evans, what was your verdict on the Green River Foolproof? I love it. I think for $50, it's one of the best $50 bottles on the shelf. It's not perfect. It shouldn't be at the price point, I think, but I love it. And it just shows people how good Green River is and will be as it continues to age. And to me, it's like the best advertisement for buying their barrel picks, Orlando just jumped in at the micro batches tier, man. Thank you. And thank you for this flight, man. This was one hell of a live stream with this flight. So fun to just drink amazing whiskey. All right, let's clear these glasses quickly. Get a little water in my system. Tim, I think it's very approachable. That's the other thing. It drinks easy. I like it better than the current rare breed, in my opinion. Devin, funny thing is I'm only like an inch taller than you. Well, look, that's the Dan Shook approach. You can beat me by 1 point, but you apparently clap my cheeks, so. Orlando says it wasn't open when I jumped in. Yeah, I just opened these spots. We'll do a couple more later, but yeah, I think keeping it tight and limited is the best way to do it for that tier, for the top 2, really. Thank you, Bobby H. B Factor Cam, if you get a chance to try and get a sample of the recent short barrel, let's see, barrel proof rye pick that Whiskey Wisdom and Echoes and Eternity did. Oh wow, 12-year MGP at 131.4. So short barrel is on my list of people to email. Justin, if you're still here, Justin Potts, I'm going to email them. I promise. I think short barrel is shutting off barrel picks until the fall. They want their barrels to sit over the summer in their rick houses because I think they're in Atlanta or something like that. So they're going to get a lot of heat. I am going to try to organize a barrel pick with them as soon as those picks open back up. I would love to go down there and find some crazy dark whiskey if they have it available. So that's cool. I didn't know about that rye pick. Okay. So let me get these poured out now. Just a reminder of these Maryland Heritage Ryes. These are all 14 years old, just a blend of different barrels from the same lot. And we have the Mount Vernon at 108.2 proof, which I just poured. Then we have this, which is the Sherwood, my favorite of the bunch, which is 110.4, a little hotter. And then we have the Sherbrooke at 109.7. Ooh, that cork felt like it was about to break. These are all great. The Sherwood, for me, the reason I liked it the best, it was the most aromatic, a little more orange than the others. Typically, I would go for like darker notes, but it was just such a complete whiskey. I love the Sherwood. The Mount Vernon is the darkest, and the Sherbrooke is the balanced one of the three. I guess you're talking about bee's knees. Jesse, just take my money now, Cam. We all know I'm going to love anything you and the group pick. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. We will see. Travis, okay, I'm hearing an Old Dominic, NBC, Dickel, and Short Barrel Week. Wouldn't that be fun? Do a whole trip of barrel picks? I don't know if I could survive that, though. Short Barrel is closed until fall. Yeah, I'm going to email them and just see if we can set something up. Plus, I think with everybody that we're gonna talk to here now, I think we're pretty much good through the end of 2024. Yeah, so Orlando, we do have a micro batches hang. We do a monthly Zoom hang. We have one coming up this Sunday. I'm going to post a link tomorrow for it. It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. If you can make it, that would be awesome. Walker says, Sealbox, okay, I pick was outstanding, and so was the Short Barrel MGP rye pick, the B Factor just referenced. Both are among the best ryes I've had this year. Went from BH was also right there. Damn. Walker, man, you must have the intel on that Short Barrel. That's cool that you snagged that too. I'm curious about that one. Oh, Tim, you did send this my way. Or hand it off to me, jeez. I'll do this at the end. Actually, let me do it right now. Why not? Let me get a clean glass. So, Tim, remind me. Awesome, Orlando. It'll be nice to meet you, man. So, Tim, this is Mammoth Hazmat, 140 proof, 18 year. It says Tiki Rum / Orange Curacao. Wow. Oh, shit. So I expected this to be very over finished. Whenever I see Orange Curacao, I'm like, ugh. I have, the Distillery that the Bardstown Bourbon Company did back in like 2020 was crazy Orange Curacao. Then there was the Parker's Heritage release. This is very balanced. And I usually don't like rum finishes on... I promise we'll get back to this rye comparison. Now we have 6 more ryes to compare. Good God. Not really. I'm not going to be in detail on the Maryland Heritage. I'll just give kind of a broad strokes comparison. But I usually hate rum finishes on American whiskeys, but I love it on Scotch. So I'm excited to try the Lagavulin Offerman Edition, the Caribbean rum finish. I'm going to do that review for this Scotch Sunday. This Mammoth with the rum and Curacao, it's like what I want seagrass to be like. Because seagrass is cool, but it's very over-finished. And it's like Tony Hall, thank you for the email, man. Appreciate that. Sorry, guys. So I think seagrass is kind of over-finished for what it is. And this is like the tamed down version of seagrass in a way that doesn't feel like a specialty whiskey. Oh, Walker. Hey, I'm not sure if you can share the link in the chat. Can you send it to my email and I can share it? If they added it for shipping on their site, maybe they can ship to Ohio, maybe not. But can you send me an email real quick with that URL? Justin, you jumped up to micro batches, man. Thanks. All right. Oh, geez. Oh, my God. What does that taste like? Oh, my God. That is one of the most delicious things. Tim, what does this taste like, man? It's like a pixie stick, but in a very good way, not in like an overly sweet way. Oh, my God. It tastes like a pixie stick. Like an orange pixie stick. I got to pour the rest of this back. I got to give this to Sarah. This is like Driftless Glen on steroids. All right, here's this email. This link. It's only $140. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. Thank you for your patience. Good Lord. Let's see if they can do this to Ohio. Okay. I think they can. So I'll post this in here. And you mentioned something about a 13th Colony bundle, too. I think people want to get all over that. Oh, it's a bundle with the 2 picks. Oh, my God. Okay, I'm going to share the link to both of these, I guess. What happened? Uh-oh. Can they not ship to me? Maybe they can't ship to me. Yeah, winefolder.com. I don't know this. I don't know this site. So all right. Give me just a sec, guys. Sorry. What's going on with this? All right. Let me grab this link. I think this should work. If, like, I don't know if you guys, can you copy and paste from the chat here? This is a 13th Colony 8.5-year single barrel rye pick and a short barrel of this stuff. Short barrel is the name of the brand. It's not it's not actually a short barrel. That, I mean, it could be. I don't know. But the bundle was like, was that $200 for the bundle? Which is $299. Look. That's not a bad price. But if you just want the short barrel, that was like 130 or whatever I said. I bought the bundle. I can talk. Listen, I can be upset at 13th Colony for whatever. The labeling issues and you know, seemingly not disclosing maybe some staves going into barrels. We don't really know. Allegedly, who knows? I'm not sure. But the ryes, they do say they use French oak staves. Fine. I believe that. I believe that's what's going on. That's why it's so dark. The heat. Detling has the same heat. Detling whiskey is insanely dark. I get it. Some of the other stuff from 13th Colony is a little... I have questions that I feel like are not answered. And they're weird about that stuff. But I'm sure this is a great rye. So I'm going to buy both. Orlando heading out. Have to feed baby Cam at 2 a.m. Orlando has a son named Cameron. Amazing tasting notes is always much appreciated for doing the Brook Hill flight live. I'm a huge rare character fan and will send some more samples your way in the future. Thanks, man. Orlando, you made the stream, man. I appreciate you. Have a good night. Get some sleep, man, with the new baby. All right. So let's get into this comparison now. This Mammoth Rye is ridiculous, Tim. So crazy. Tim, it does kind of... Well, I don't know. I think Walker mentioned that it was Perdita Liquors is the store, Panhandle of Florida. Master Distiller at Short Barrel posted him yesterday, and I spoke to him. Okay, so there we go. So it's legit. All right. I should have just bought a second bottle of the Short Barrel Rye. We have our pick coming, so that's okay. Proof on that is 127. That's awesome. Josh says, I don't think we can get Detling or Mellick in Michigan, unfortunately. Probably not. Detling is definitely very limited. Mellick, I'm not sure. Devin, what Mammoth is this? It just says Hazmat, 140 proof, 18-year, tiki rum, and orange curacao finish. Tim would probably know more. So, all right, this is... So, I have a single glass in front of me. This is the Drums and Drams River Roots Rye 1. This is the top winner of the Brook Hill flight tonight. So the winner of the Brook Hill flight has all of the notes of this one, plus the funky notes of the one that we're going to release, the Funky Monkey. It's got both of those sets of notes, also with higher proof. So it's just the GOAT of all of these whiskeys I've had. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Let's go back to Drums and Drams right now, which on the nose completely competes with this, but it just doesn't have those funky tobacco and heavy, like, wet rock minerality notes. But it's got a little more root beer, actually. The finish is shorter because the proof is lower. All things considered, that one is better. But if the proof were the same, it would be a toss-up. Devin, did you get the proofs off the next picks? No, I don't know. I think they're probably around 120, similar. Joe says, looks like Winefolder doesn't ship to Georgia. Oh, man. Did it like decline you in the checkout or something? Or did you look it up on the site? Well, yes, I got your package. I have it. I unwrapped it. It's behind me. David Jennings, what's up, man? Wet Rock is formerly known as Petrichor. I try not to say that note only because I feel like, I don't know. Just that word is not like in the vernacular. Maybe it should be. But I it's a great word, though. Will, you did tape it up, dude. Look, can I say something real quick, guys? if you're sending olive oil samples in Boston Round bottles, there is absolutely no need to ever put any tape on the bubble wrap. You should cling wrap the bottle, so if there's any spillage of olive oil, it doesn't get outside of that. And then you might bubble wrap it. You should bubble wrap it. And then afterwards, either leave it or just throw a little quick cling wrap just to keep the bubble wrap on. You don't need to ever wrap it in tape. Wrapping it in tape is just, it does nothing for anyone except make the person opening it suffer greatly. Rain on pavement. There we go. Nice. Okay, so it did do that to you in checkout. Jesse, just put my address in there, man. I think you have it. Put my address in there. I'll send it to you. Don't tape, Jeb. Don't tape samples, bro. Cam, I can't wait for you to taste this Two Souls Spirits Double Pumpernickel Rye. Yeah, I can't wait to taste it either, man. I love Middle West. All right, now, last comparison of this little set from the Brook Hill lineup is the Las Palmas, the Blueberry Bomb. That is so... Maybe that should have been first place. That maybe should have been first place. I mean, that is so good. Oh my God. Yeah. That beats the River Roots pick for sure. It's just such a different profile and it drinks way more intense. Leo, I have tried Found North whiskey. It's not my thing, but I have more samples on this shelf in front of me from Copper Wolf in the chat. I need to try this flight of samples he sent me. Will, you did kill the cards, and you sent labels for after the fact, which is very cool. All right. So now I think, was it Joe that asked about how these compare to the 14 years? Who asked that? Yeah, it was Joe. 25 minutes ago. Sorry, Joe, if you're still here. Devin says, if you don't like batch 6, I don't think you'll like anything they offer. I'll have to see if there's a batch 6 sample in there. So yeah, I mean, look, these 14-year MGP ryes are way, way softer on the nose. As you would expect, higher age, 10 to 25 proof points lower than some of these. A lot more ginger on the nose of these higher aged ryes. Yeah. I'm going to try a comparison with Sherwood. It's a mood thing for me for this because this palette is a little richer. It's a little darker overall, like more dark fruit notes specifically, and kind of a coffee bitterness on the back end. The finish is much shorter because the proof is lower, the age is higher. So, like in a side-by-side comparison in a blind flight, I think 9 times out of 10, these 11-year ryes at cast strength are going to beat the pants off of the Maryland Heritage Series. But unblind, if you're just going to drink and have some pours, these are great. And you would find the value in drinking these over the 11 years. But I think overall, the whiskey drinker I would probably just go to one of these 11-year single barrels over the Maryland Heritage Series. Yeah. Will. I used reinforced shipping tape. Payback for the 10 minutes it took me to get the to get the one bottle open that he sent recently. So yeah, today I had my knife out, and it's like one of those half and half knives. I don't know knives, so I don't know what you call it, but it's like smooth on the first half, and then it has like the ridges on the second half. And I was like, I had these samples. I'm like, what the hell is this tape? And I tried to cut into it, and I had to like really work to get these fucking samples out of this tape. It was pretty funny. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up tonight's live stream. I did not get into this Frey Ranch. I thought I would, but that's okay. It was cool meeting Colby today and Mike from Frey Ranch, and I'll try to work out a pick with those guys maybe in the new year. But lots of whiskey tasted this evening. A lot of cool comparisons. I'm glad to taste all these Brook Hill ryes. And yeah, I'll see you next week. I think we'll do a live stream next week, next Thursday night. Thanks for the new Patreon members, and thank you, of course, to all of the people that entered tonight's giveaway with the super chats and all that. So congrats to the winners. I'll get those packages sent out. Yeah, Monday. Jeb will get some stuff going out Monday. The winners of tonight's live stream will get that stuff as well. And I think that's going to do it. Tomorrow, the Buffalo Trace Pre-Prohibition collection should come out, barring any tragedies. Tomorrow night, I'm going to see William Montgomery. If you guys are comedy fans, William Montgomery is going to be here in Columbus at the Funny Bone. So we'll see him tomorrow night, which is awesome. And I had a lot of fun tonight. It was almost a 3-hour stream. I'm trying to do less 3-hour streams. And here we are. So, all right. That's it. Cheers. And I will see you soon here on Drums and Drams. Thanks, guys.